Hey, YouTube. I think we're good. I think we're all here now.
Sick. Hi, YouTube.
As the title would suggest, we're gonna be playing Donkey Kong Country 2 and just hanging out. That's kind of that's. I don't know exactly how this is gonna go. I assume this is kind of just gonna turn into like a little impromptu bit harmony where we're just talking and shooting the shit. I guess we can swear now.
Oh, man. Really off the leash.
The unedited bit harmony. I decided to let everyone see, let the world see, let Nintendo see that I'm not pirating Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. I do indeed have it up on the Switch, or I'm getting it up on the Switch, showing off my home menu, just so everyone, we're all on the same page here. Even dug out my Nintendo Super Nintendo controller just for this.
I was going to ask about that. I see the icon at the bottom left indicating that you're playing with that.
It had no charge, so I had to charge it this morning because I haven't used it in years. Yeah, when you go into the Super Nintendo thing, yeah, it turns it all like gray and purple, if I remember correctly.
That's a little cute. Yeah. This is going to be interesting because I think I'm going to be like 10 seconds behind you or something. So we'll see. I'll be commentating on 10 seconds in the past. Of Matt's gameplay here, but it'll be fine.
When was the last time you played Donkey Kong Country 2?
When it came to 3DS, I think.
Okay.
Well, like full playthrough anyway. I booted it, like when it came out on this, I booted it up for 10 minutes or something. Like, yep, that's still good. And then and then like that was it.
Right before, like one of the last things I did before I had a month off of work between quitting my job and moving to Germany, so I had a lot of spare time on my hands, And I decided before I left America, maybe forever, I was just going to 100% a bunch of games that I had never had before. So I 100%ed Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, and I 100%ed Mario Sunshine. And if I'm being honest, they were all awful 100%.
Yeah. So Mario Sunshine 100% is brutal, dude.
Yeah, that I had a whole, I had a checklist up of all the blue coins and whatever.
Those blue coins.
But yeah, that was the last time I played all the way through Donkey Kong Country 2. I'm sure I've like booted it up just to play like a level or two in the 4 years or so since then, but
right,
all the way through, yeah, it's been just about 4 years for me.
Yeah, it's I remember thinking it was so cool when they put it out on 3DS. I think that was the last time I played it.
Yeah, it was it's fun playing stuff like Super Nintendo stuff on like a screen that small.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of lose that a little bit even if you're playing on handheld on Switch. There's my 102% file.
There you go. Yeah, look at you.
I have so many memories of a kid of just thinking how cool these like worlds looked. Like how now it just looks like a crushed PNG or whatever. But seeing this coming out of your CRT back then, it was insane.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's kind of quaint now, right? Like it looks so crushed and chunky, but back then, yeah, like it really looked like another little world in a way that I guess just because they were going for that kind of, pseudo-realism sort of thing, like that weird, like, I don't know, like the art style of these games kind of somehow looks like photoreal, even though it isn't, like it's so stylized. It definitely hit different as a kid than something like Super Mario World.
Yeah, there's like a texture to everything, and there's like a sense of place. We talk about that all the time with like modern Mario and even Mario Wonder. I know you and I are certified Mario Wonder haters. Mario Wonder was cool, and I'd agree it is the best 2D Mario game since like World or whatever, but that's not saying that much, and also it still didn't really have that sense of place for me.
Yeah. Right, yeah, like it didn't have like the, I don't know, yeah, like the connection and bombast, especially when you can play, games like Rayman and Tropical Freeze and stuff like on the same system. Just feels tame by comparison.
It's also funny, you never realize just how much you played a game when you were growing up until like you fire it up for the first time in years and you're automatically doing everything.
Yeah. I love the feeling of Rambi like bouncing off of enemies, just like there's something so fun about the way that feels.
It feels like kind of out of control in a way.
Yeah.
And they capture that well in Returns and Tropical Freeze, but that was always like a big reason why I was disappointed that they never introduced other animal buddies.
So sick.
I also like how quiet music-wise the first couple levels are. You also figured out, hold on, certified climber Diddy.
I also just like the duo of Diddy and Dixie is like my favorite like duo of the two as well. Like, I don't know. Hey Sparky.
Hey Sparky. I thought about, as a joke, firing up Castlevania Dominus Collection real quick at the start.
Just doing that instead.
Dude, have you played the
this?
that Haunted Castle remake that they included in there as a bonus?
No, all I've done so far is Dawn of Sorrow. I haven't had time to dive into it. I want to play that though. It seems cool.
It's incredible. You can beat it in one sitting. It's like half an hour long. It's also pretty easy. Unlike the original Haunted Castle, which is just garbage. The music is incredible. It's basically just like a new mini old school Castlevania game that they just hid away inside this collection.
That's sick.
Very worth a playthrough. It's like I fired it up last night. I couldn't believe how like good it looked. It's very the Adventure Rebirth looking.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I wish they would just have continued doing those.
Yeah. I think I only ever played the Castlevania. Oh no! Well, it's fine. We don't need all the coins.
You mean you're not doing 102% playthrough?
Absolutely not. if we get enough coins, we can do some of like the Lost World or whatever. Wait, isn't the DK coin somewhere over here? I think. Is this the same
bonus
one I
art
was
they
saying?
include in the Castlevania, but yeah, the bonus art and stuff like the gallery stuff is really great.
Yeah. If I'm honest, I'm biased, I know, but I usually try and exclude putting like collections on my Game of the Year list, but the selfish part of me is like, I think I'm gonna have Castlevania Dominus Collection on my Game of the Year list.
Yeah, I get weird with stuff like that, because there are certain things that I'm like, you know, like, does side order count? You know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Also, like, my favorite thing this year is the Elden Ring DLC, so, like, is that kosher to put on as my number one, even? Like, I don't know.
Because I'm like, if side order counts, that's really high.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it kind of disrupts the makeup of my entire list, if that counts.
Like, side order is probably my favorite Nintendo thing this year, which is... I did not expect that going into it.
Yeah, it might be for me too, to be honest.
Oops.
Because...
Alright, no more muscle memory, I guess.
Because yeah, if it does, it kind of shakes it up in a big bad way.
It's funny too, in all the like talks I've had about Game of the Year stuff, even though I like side order so much, yeah, I keep forgetting to include it because it is DLC. But yeah, this level is when it starts getting to like sunset. Yeah, this is that real stuff.
Oh yeah, that stuff's good. Yeah, that's the thing. Like the atmosphere and the vibes of this entire trilogy are so good that, like, you know, I really like them. I don't think I regard them as highly as some other people that I know. I don't think they're like, you know, the best 2D platformers ever made or whatever, but just the vibes are like unmatched. Like, especially for this era. Like, there are no better vibes on the Super Nintendo than this.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, and if I can think of anything with equal vibes, it's like RPGs. You know, it's not platformers.
Yeah, they're special games. It's the kind of thing too where, like, I always wish that, like, more stuff, and I know that there are, like, other games that kind of, you know, capture this, like, Kaze and stuff, but even, like, Kaze was good, I enjoyed it, but it doesn't really, you know, there are, like, DKC-like games, but I don't think anything's really, like, gone as hard into that, like, the sunsets and the silhouettes and the, you know, the beaches and the pirate ships and all that stuff. Like, I don't know, man. Like, nothing is quite like, look the way this looks. Like,
this level used to creep me out when I was a kid. Like the way the water fills the ship that you're in. Yeah.
Yeah, any level with like rising water that you can drown in always got me as a kid.
No. Okay, we're good, we're good. What was I gonna say? How do you feel then? I think you mentioned this once long time ago, and I wasn't talking to you at the time, so I couldn't call you out on it. But what do you feel about ukulele and the whatever it's called, hidden layer, whatever the hell that game is called? Impossible layer.
Yeah, like it's really good. I still don't think it like nails the vibe though. Like I still don't know. Like it's really good and like well designed, but I still don't know if it like quite gets here, you know, like gets to this. But it's really good and like there are good, you know, DKC likes, but I'm just surprised that nobody, like even in some ways, even the original creators have not been able to recapture this exact feeling.
Right. I mean, yeah, as much as I love Tropical Freeze, it still doesn't capture this feeling.
No. Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like Tropical Freeze, and I love it too, but it's almost like too clean. Like, there's something kind of, like this game kind of looks like renders and scans in a Nintendo Power magazine or something. Like,
right.
I don't know, like I'm just a little surprised that like nobody's tried to like more directly replicate the look and feel of these games.
Especially because now you could even just do like a full-on, like, you could do like a claymation looking or a stop motion looking Donkey Kong Country game. Like I think of that Judero game, which is going for a very different vibe and whatever.
Right.
But I could totally see like a platformer Donkey Kong Country style game with that kind of art style.
I love this level's so cool.
Yeah, it's real. Any Radley level is fantastic. Is my thought process.
Yeah, I love the way this stuff looks. Like, it reminds me of like Diablo 2 or something. Like the way that like the sails are all bunched up there, the rain and like the I don't know. It does it for me.
Is it just because it's like European devs made this? Because like
maybe
here's my thing, and we got Sparky in the chat, who is also European. Like, there's something different about especially 16-bit and like 8-bit like European developed games compared to American or Japanese developed games. I feel like there was more of an emphasis put on vibes. Now, I'll be honest, I also find a lot of like European developed platformers of this era, I don't like them as from a gameplay standpoint, and this is like one of the exceptions to that for me. A lot of European platformers of this era, they're way more like open. Like they're very, very open level design. It just doesn't, it feels empty to me a lot of the time. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just because of whatever was in the water over in Europe in the Super Nintendo days. Is Plock, is that also Europe or is that American developed?
No, they're I think they're UK based as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if there's something to be said about like European, like you think of like British or German, like impressionistic like artwork and stuff, and like some of the influences that some of the like darker influences on like European art, I feel like are present, and that's true of Japanese art as well, but I feel like you see that more in manga than video games. And you know, the exception to that is stuff like Dark Souls and stuff, which, you know, a lot of people were like really struck by when those games came out. It's like, well, yeah, like they're just influenced by, you know, the kind of weird, darker, like Japanese artwork that has always been around, but video games haven't super capitalized on it. And I feel like darker, like impressionistic artwork was always present in in European art too, and maybe that influenced a lot of this stuff.
They're just like, I don't know, between Donkey... Yeah, I remember this. There's like that darker secret chest up there that blends more into the back.
Oh, yeah.
For one, I also want to note that it's very funny that we're talking about like German Impressionism art while I'm killing a vulture dropping... A pirate vulture dropping eggs on me. But, now I don't even remember what I was going to say. But... I don't know, like, because, yeah, I also think of Plock, and it's funny that Plock keeps coming up while we're talking, like, just in general, both on the podcast and off the podcast. We keep talking about Plock, so I guess there's something there, but, like, when I think about Plock, besides the music, I also think about, like, it's, like, commitment to the storytelling, and, like, there's, like, full-on, like, flashback sequences that are, like, black and white, and stuff, like, even though Plock is not that good of a video game, like, they really were trying to do some cool stuff with it.
Yeah, and isn't there also sort of like, I think of like Plock isn't part of the story like he needs to like reclaim like his throne or something like that? Like, isn't that sort of a thing with like the story? Like, doesn't...
It's been too long since I played Plock to know that.
Well, it just reminds me of like some of that imagery. It's a little like Conker's Bad Fur Day-ish, like him sitting on the throne with the crown and everything. I don't know, like I feel like that's kind of like a, you know, like a sort of British game development story too, is like a common theme of a British game development story is maybe this sort of like, you know, like getting like your old place back or something like that, or like these weird revenge or comeback stories or something. Or, I mean, even Donkey Kong Country in a way is that, like, you know, if it's rescuing something, if it's like getting back your banana horde, you know, whatever. There's a lot of that in here.
Do you think the anti-imperialism message of Donkey Kong Country is guilt?
Definitely. There's a strong anti-imperialism message, and I'm waiting for that, like, that, you know, that DKC spiritual successor that's just, like, a strong, you know, sort of, like, Arco-level, fully-throated anti-colonialism.
But DKC 2, you do go. Diddy goes on a conquest and he goes and kills all the Kremlins. Like, is that's the youth? That's the like fiery youth of Diddy Kong. Like that was his decision, not Donkey's decision.
Yeah, we really should have. We should have saved this analogy for the podcast. Another quick thing. I love how the reasoning that they came up with for the animal companions to like stop being used on the stage is just that there's a sign that they're not allowed anymore.
To me, that is also like very British humor. It's just like, yeah, there's a sign there.
So it's like, yeah, I guess we'll go away.
We'll turn into something else. We'll turn into an extra life balloon for you.
Looking forward to the Bit Harmony DK special 4-hour epic. It cannot be 4 hours.
Part of the reason why we're doing DKC2 is because we figured it would be a shorter-ish episode.
I guess we'll find out. We truly never intend for that to happen.
Yeah.
We've never once said, all right, time to do a 4-hour podcast.
I remember when we started, like, when we had that Anodyne 2 podcast, which I think was like 2.5 hours, we're like, man, we can't do this again. And then 2 episodes later, we had like a nearly 4-hour podcast.
Now it's like a bit. Now it's like a joke. Now it's like, okay, I guess we're gonna talk about Tetris for 4 hours.
Yeah, when Tosh was on, I know I said this on the episode, but she was like, "Hey, yeah, we're not doing a 4-hour podcast. Like we're not doing." I'm like, "No, I don't want to either. We never want to. We never set sails with that in mind."
Yeah, but like sometimes, you know, you just you make the podcast you're capable of making, and you do what is right for the art or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
We keep having these deep conversations while pirate vultures are trying to kill me. I like how these ones have bandanas. They're the little little crewmates.
Oh, what a cool looking level this is too.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't think about this beforehand. But I'm like, oh, if we do a stream of the whole game, surely we're gonna end up talking about the music, and surely doesn't that like negate the point of doing a podcast about the music? But we haven't really talked about the music. But I do want to say this is one of my favorite songs in the game.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, I mean the nice thing about it is like I'm watching the stream with it muted because I don't want to just hear myself talking. So but yeah, I mean the music itself is obviously great. All of these games have great soundtracks. Even like it's funny. Did you ever play the Game Boy version of Donkey Kong?
Yeah, Donkey Kong Land.
Yeah. Like even that, like I find that soundtrack like weirdly charming for whatever it is. Even though it's like obviously got limitations to it. I find that game in general pretty charming.
I don't think I've ever sat down and played all of Donkey Kong Land, any of them. But yeah, I've listened to the soundtracks, and yeah, like the vibes are still there, even in like 8-bit Game Boy audio form.
They make it work. Yeah, like I don't know. There's something charming to me about like making, just working within those limitations and still managing to capture something there. Even though it obviously isn't as fully formed as this.
It was making it's funny. When we did that video for All You Need Is Help, Tosh was not familiar with like Q Games and their legacy and stuff, and like Dylan Cuthbert.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to her that like Dylan Cuthbert is the dude that like made X on Game Boy, that like, polygonal Game Boy game, and that morphed into Star Fox and stuff. And, like yeah, just taking it, like working through the limitations to create something insane that like shouldn't even be possible. That doesn't really seem like it's a thing anymore because technology has advanced so much. Whereas like some Super Nintendo games, it feels like you're that's a word to swim. It just feels like, I don't know, like it feels like Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 shouldn't really run on a Super Nintendo. Is how it feels like to me,
right.
But they do, and pretty well actually.
Yeah, they run great. The Super Nintendo in general was capable of like so many weird and interesting things. Like it's still pretty impressive. Like even just visually, the amount of like different art styles that were possible, because you could have stuff like Super Mario World or whatever. But at the same time, you look at like Yoshi's Island and it looks like it's drawn by crayon or something. And you look at something like this and they look like photo scans. And then you have stuff like Clay Fighters and stuff like this.
Dude, Clay Fighters.
I don't know.
Why is that not on Nintendo Switch Online?
Yeah, it's really interesting, like how much like you could do, how versatile this hardware was.
And then you have Kirby's Dream Land 3, which to me is still like the best looking game on the system.
It's beautiful.
And then you have damn Star Fox, which is insane. I mean, it runs like garbage, but it's still insane
like
that it
Stunt Race FX and stuff. Yeah. Dreamland 3 has this interesting like colored pencil like look to it. And I love the way that game looks too. But I mean, even like you look at that side by side with like Superstar.
Right.
And it's totally different. It's crazy.
It's funny too, I didn't notice, I think it might have been in Sakurai's YouTube video about Kirby Superstar, and he was saying that he was just always been disappointed in how that game looks because they kind of encouraged him to use more like polygonal assets because it was possible on the Super Nintendo, and he was saying that he didn't think it aged well. I agree that there are aspects of Superstar that aren't timeless, especially compared to Dreamland 3, but it ends up giving the game a very unique look and feel to it. Like when I think of the Super Nintendo, not just because Kirby Superstar is like my favorite game on it, or near the top, but I don't know, I also just think about Superstar and the way it looks.
Yeah, there you go, Mafia style. Dreamland 3 really underrated.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we talked about this on the Kirby Canvas Curse episode of Bit Harmony. I do think Dreamland 3 is not that great of a single-player Kirby, but as a co-op game, I think it's incredible. My wife and I played through that entirely in co-op a couple years ago, and that was a really, really fun time. Also, I got to be Gooey, and Gooey is one of my favorite Kirby characters. Yes. Yeah.
Anytime there's a slime.
Yeah.
A slime of any other name.
Gooey's just like real nasty too. I don't know. There's something about that dude. You don't trust him the way you do like a Dragon Quest.
Yeah, which is ironic given that those are actually enemies. So that's pretty funny. Yeah, but the Dragon Quest slime just seems so much more friendly.
If I was like in a bind, like if I was being arrested for something and there was a slime walking by and someone had to go pick up my kids, I would be like, officer, I know that slime, can he go pick up my kids? And I would trust him with it.
He's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of this is getting picked up on my mic, but they just started doing like, I don't know if they're pressure washing like the outside or something like that, but they're doing some kind of work right outside my apartment area.
I think I hear a tiny bit of it, but it's not like, oh, that's really...
Hopefully it's not too bad. Yeah, don't leave Gooey with your girl.
Yeah. I think at some point Gooey like licks, I forget her name, like the pink jelly girl, like in a cutscene, and then she slaps it.
It's the licking.
Mm-hmm.
The licking is really.
the licking is the step that's too far.
Yeah, that's really it.
I'm not like.
That's when Gooey lost it.
The only time I get plushies is like for my wife, like for Valentine's Day or whatever. I'll pick something up. Like I think the past like 2 Valentines or 2 of the last 3 Valentines, I've gotten her like a Kirby plush of some sort. And then that's how I learned that there is a Gooey plush with a like flexible, posable tongue that I thought would be pretty funny, but I haven't pulled the trigger. But I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I can appreciate it. I can appreciate like but I'm also like I've never been a lick-a-tongue fan either. I can like I like gross little gremlin dudes as much as the next guy, but yeah, there is something about the licking to me. Licking's just kind of gross.
But you like Gengar, doesn't Gengar lick?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Gengar licks, but for whatever reason, I don't really like think of Gengar as being like a licker. It's not like. Yeah, he doesn't really. When I think of Gengar as a personality or something, like licking would be pretty far down the list of things I imagine him doing. I guess I don't know why. I think of him just being like mischievous little dude, smiling.
I mean, licking is a part of that, though.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Well, and it's funny too, because like in Japanese, like you would see an anime or whatever, like Gengar, whoever would like lick the character, and then like they would have that kind of grossed out expression where it's just a bunch of like purple lines on their face, basically,
and they're like shuddering. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty accurately captures how I feel about it.
feel safe
Also,
in that
these
barrel
dudes.
job. Which dudes?
These dudes like throwing the sickles at you.
Yeah.
These like giant jackets are pretty good.
Yeah, I never knew how to interpret exactly what these dudes are, like, yeah, what they're wearing specifically. So we'd see another one.
Is it supposed to be like a Russian like sort of thing? Like,
is it like a communism thing? There's so much commentary in Donkey Kong Country.
I'm like, they're throwing sickles. They have like these giant like fur coat things. Like, is that what they're going for?
And I think these dudes mostly just appear in the mine levels. I think they also appear in some of the late game like castle levels. But is there something there with like they're like slavers in the mines or something? Like what's going on?
Man, yeah. Well, you imagine there must be like some sort of hierarchy, and like they're armed with weapons, whereas like the other Kremlings are just like these like peg-legged, you know, workers just kind of walking around.
Yeah, so. You're right. Like, I really took a good look at the last one I just jumped on. Okay, that is just straight up a coat, and he's got his collar popped. Like, what is going on?
Like, it's interesting. Like, you know, like the second that one of them is armed and the other one isn't, there's a power differential. You know, like there's a power structure change there. So like, I feel like these dudes are definitely, you know, the highest rank of anybody in these mines.
But then these ones with the cannon launchers too, though.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, the animation on the parrot. Yeah. So good.
I really like Squawks. Is it in 3 where there's like the purple version of him that he doesn't like carry you, but he like spits coconuts or something? I don't quite remember.
Yeah, pretty good.
I think we've seen all the animal buddies in the game. So now we gotta talk about the animal buddies. What's the best animal buddy in 2 specifically?
It's probably Rattly for me.
Yeah, it's Rattly or whatever the spider is called.
Is it Squitter or whatever, the spider?
If it is, I wish it wasn't, but yeah.
I think that's the name.
I think so.
Spider, DKC2. So yeah, Squitter the spider. Yeah, that's pretty gross. I just like the little shoes on all of his feet.
Yeah.
Are kind of interesting, but yeah.
The animal buddies in 2 are just such a huge improvement over 1. Like, I don't know, besides Rambi, the one, and I guess Ungard is good, but like,
yeah,
you know, I like, what is it, Espresso the ostrich. Like, I love ostriches, but I don't really care about Espresso the ostrich because they never really have a cool espresso level, I feel like.
Mafia Style loves the sneakers.
I think the spider's also in 3, yeah, because there's a level in like a factory with the rocket launcher. So yeah, the spider is also in 3. And yeah, no, I agree.
Let's see, the 3 had Ellie the elephant.
They do cool
the parallel bird.
They do, yeah. Is that the purple one? Or no, that's a.
Yeah, it's like blue and yellow.
Okay. Ellie the elephant's great because like they do a whole boss fight with Ellie with like squirting water into the crab's eye or whatever. Yeah, Ellie was the standout to me in 3.
For sure.
Yeah, these dudes also have like big coats with pop collars, but they're like dead ones.
Yeah. Oh, the one you're thinking of is Quawks.
Okay,
not Squawks, but Quawks.
Okay.
He's the purple one.
Okay, there looks like this might be a death, but there's definitely a banana over here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that was a death. I think that's the first death this whole playthrough, so I'll take it.
I think so. Yeah, there's a whole list of animal buddies here on the Donkey Kong wiki.
Yeah, I know we talked about it already.
Winky the Frog.
Oh yeah, I like Winky the Frog in 1, but they never brought Winky back. I don't think.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, that was why I wasn't expecting to bounce off of the Ramby crate.
This is kind of funny. They put like the like non-playable animal buddies in here, like Clapper the seal.
Oh yeah, the one that you jump onto, that we saw in this game.
Yeah, we just saw. Yeah, but like, you don't play as that. You don't play with them.
I mean, he is ostensibly an animal that is being your buddy, so I guess it makes sense.
He's not actively harming you, so I guess by default he's your buddy. But I don't know. He's also not actively involved.
Why can't Ramby kill those dudes? That's garbage. Garbage. Damn, we can't get that banana coin because we lost Ramby. Oh yeah, I think that one I just killed maybe had the DK coin.
I like the music in this stage too.
To me, World 3 is like when they really start ramping the music up. Like, as good as the music has been up to this point, it really feels like this is where they start going nuts. Yeah, there's something with this dude. I think he has the DK coin. Okay, well, we lost him. Or no, we didn't. Oh, he's just floating away. Okay, that's cool. Okay. How can I do something with this cannonball? Ah, right here.
Yeah, I need to get myself one of these, either the Super Nintendo controller or the NES controller. Because I really bumped into, especially when playing NES Championships, like I could not play that with the Switch controller.
Yeah, it's a bad D-pad. It's genuinely
so bad.
I like the Joy-Con D-pad equivalent more than the Switch Pro controller D-pad.
Definitely.
Which is dumb. It shouldn't be like that, but but it is better. It's just so squishy. It's real bad.
Yeah. And I can normally kind of adjust to it, but like especially for something like that where like every microsecond is important. I was really bumping up against that. I was like, dude, like I can't play this like this. Like, it just doesn't work.
Hey, I know I've recommended it to you before, but 8-bit Do controllers, like the one Tosh has is great. I really like the one I have too, which is basically like a Super Nintendo controller with analog sticks.
I should get one of those.
Like, yeah, Tasha was very hesitant for like years. I kept telling her that she kept getting drift on like every Pro controller she had within like a year, and then it was the she got the Monster Hunter Rise. Was it the Magnamalo? It was the Magnamalo Pro controller, and she loved that controller because she loves Monster Hunter, and that one got drift, and that was like the final straw. And then I convinced her to get an 8-bit Do controller, and yeah, she loves it.
Yeah, I should just bite the bullet and get that, because don't those have like the Hall effect sticks?
Yeah, the newer ones do, yeah. And I think they've even added them to the older models. You just have to make sure you're getting like the newer updated one. But I think, yeah, the one Tosh has, like that one was built from the ground up to have the Hall effect stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I should just bite the bullet and get that, because I don't know, like I love the way the Pro Controller feels. I love the battery life and everything, but it's that D-pad, man.
The battery life on the 8-bit ones are good too. Like, not like 80 hours like the Switch Pro controller, but still like at least like 20 to 30.
Yeah. Anything's better than the PS5 controller.
Yep. I hadn't turned our PS5 on in a couple weeks because I've been so busy with like Castlevania and like other stuff for review. And then the other morning, I was up hours before my wife, and the Switch was dead because she falls asleep watching YouTube on that thing every night. So I was just playing Elden Ring, and within like an hour and a half, it already had lost a bar of battery. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, my wife, when we finally got like the TV and the entertainment center and stuff set up, she was like, dude, I just want to take a break from all this and just play some Spelunky. And she had like a really good run of Spelunky, and so that was maybe like 30 minutes or something like that. And then she went to start up another one, and she got like the low battery, which granted it wasn't fully charged, but like she was like instantly pissed off. Like,
yeah.
She was like, really? Like already? And we literally like we bought a second controller. We bought that purple DualSense. Mostly because it was purple.
Yep.
But and also because we were playing Baldur's Gate 3 at the time, and we needed another controller. But it also has the benefit of now you can have a backup controller when your main one inevitably dies.
Yeah, that's funny because Tosh also got the purple one for when we were doing Diablo 4 couch co-op, and our white PlayStation, both our white PlayStation controllers got drift, real bad drift, and so we needed another controller. And she was very adamant that we get the purple one. So yeah, we have the same setup of our purple one is either for when we're doing co-op, or if the main red one is dead, then we can switch over to the purple one.
Dude, speaking of Diablo, my wife yesterday, we were going through, we're just kind of slowly unpacking stuff, and one of the boxes that we unpacked had a bunch of my old like Blizzard collector's editions in it. And Blizzard used to make really good collector's editions. They're still really cool. Like I have a bunch of like World of Warcraft collector's editions, and anyway, we found the Diablo 3 collector's edition that I still have, and we were just kind of going through it, and it's got like this big beautiful like art book and stuff. She's like, oh, Diablo's like, I forgot I like Diablo. I'm like, well, Diablo 4 just had like an expansion come out, like, and it's a really good like co-op game. We could play it. And she's like, nah. It's like,
okay.
It's like, all right.
It is a lot of fun in couch co-op. It just, the issue is just that I just found the post game to be incredibly boring and not worthwhile at all. And apparently they've made that better. So I'm not opposed to checking out the expansion at some point either.
Yeah, I threw it out there as like a new expansion disc, and I kind of explained to her like, Diablo 3's expansion is like the best content in the game, so I imagine it's similar here, but she's like, she's like, yeah, I don't care about that.
Okay. That's interesting, though. It's interesting to be like, oh yeah, I missed Diablo. Hey, the new Diablo is pretty good. Nah.
I don't know. She's weird. Like, sometimes I think that she, like, purposefully, if I say something, like, if I say that something's cool, like, she instantly is like, it must not be. Like,
I know what you mean. Sometimes we've talked about this before. I kind of feel the same way with what my wife is doing sometimes.
Like, it's like, and I swear, like, if somebody at her work was like, yeah, Diablo 4 is pretty good, I promise you she would come up.
Hey, Seth, have you heard about this Diablo 4?
We have Diablo 4, don't we? Yeah, Erin at work said it was really good. I'm like, oh, did she? Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah, like this level has the barrels that make the crocodile heads come out. Or I guess alligators. and they make a chomping sound when you go over them. That's very good. Now that's
really
some
like,
Donkey Kong Country.
Oh yeah, that's some Donkey Kong Country. I really like the font, like the number font in this game. Like there's, I don't know, I kind of like how like chunky it is.
I know what you mean.
I want to see if I can download that. Use that for something.
It's very, because like I think because that's like your banana count, so I think it's supposed to even kind of look like bananas.
It's just funny because it's so like it's so chunky and like crushed that it just sort of like looks like GeoCities website like enter now font.
Yeah.
You know.
Enter Matt's zone.
Yeah. I think when I made a new Tumblr page for a little bit and I immediately like stopped keeping up with it, but I liked fantasizing about the idea of like Tumblr coming back. There's just like no engagement on Tumblr anymore, but
so I will say about that real quick. What's interesting, Tosh, she gets the most engagement on Tumblr with her art out of any social media.
Oh,
so maybe it's become like an art thing now that DeviantArt's kind of dead.
So. Yeah, I think that's got to be what it is like even Blue Sky I've noticed is like a lot of like art related stuff. From what I've been able to, which is cool. Like
I've seen a lot of horny anime characters on Blue Sky, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, but like when I was on Tumblr, like I would do a lot of just like text posts, just like straight writing, and that was kind of what I was doing when I first made like a new Tumblr page. I was just writing like a bunch of little, blogs and essays and stuff, and like every now and then like somebody would see something, like nobody was actually commenting, and a big problem that Tumblr has always had, and I think this is why like art is so, I guess, prioritized there, is because like the whole reblog culture is like it's almost set up like, hey, like this is the stuff that I like, versus like making original content of my own.
Right.
It's like I want this to just be like a page where you can just see stuff that is like my vibe or whatever. And usually text posts are not conducive to that.
Sure. Yeah, that's true.
So usually it's just people reblogging GIFs or artwork or whatever, which is fine. Like that's all cool. It's just not the right platform for that. Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about Tumblr for. Why did I bring up Tumblr?
Yeah, I don't quite remember at this point.
Anyway, I brought up Tumblr for some reason, and I made that page, and I was writing some stuff on there for a little bit, and I think this is why I brought it up. I did call it something zone. Like there definitely was like a. Like it definitely did have like a zone in the title for some reason or another.
Yeah, it's got it. It's your zone. It's your personal web space.
Everything had to be a zone of some kind.
What's the in Hypnospace Outlaw when they make like the free zone or whatever? I think it's called.
Yeah.
Like that. That's what I think of when I think of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Real quick, I gotta mention. We're kind of blasted through this game, I think we're already near halfway through, but this is definitely the best level in the game, where you just turn into red, and it plays this rearrangement of like the piratey theme. This is peak
sick.
DKC2.
Yeah, it's sick, and I also just love like all of the ghostly green like horizon and like the green sea and stuff. It's sick.
I like. Because as a kid, it creeped me out. I mean, it does still kind of creep me out. I guess it's just because it's supposed to be like a ship crashed in the swamp or whatever, so that's why it's green, but it looks so acidic that it looks very unnatural and otherworldly. Like, this looks like something out of Annihilation, honestly.
Could have just made a whole game where you played as around.
They really could have. Also, I love when they like do distinctions between, like, sometimes you're riding the animal buddies, other times you're turning into them, and there's no real like rhyme or reason to it. I mean, I understand they want this whole level that you're playing as Radley. They don't want you to have the opportunity to lose him or whatever. I get it,
right.
But it's also just like, maybe you just should have done that. I don't know, like, for every animal buddy encounter in this game.
I mean, it gives them like a little bit of design leeway to like really design the air. Like, you couldn't jump this high just as DK and Dixie, you know?
Right. You know, like,
yeah, I love.
Like, in Mario Maker 2, I always wanted them to, like, just let me, like, be Link. I don't want to have to put a power-up on Mario.
Like, or a mushroom.
Yeah. Like, just let me, like, make a whole level for Link that isn't based around you have to have the power-up. Like, I don't know, it's very limiting in a way.
Yeah, and like, you have to make, like, weird junk, like, oh, and here's, like, a warp pipe that's just always spawning.
Oh, no.
In case you lose it.
Yeah, I still think Mario Maker 2 is like my most disappointing Nintendo game in a very long time. Very, very disappointing.
Yeah, like, I enjoyed it, but it was like, it was so unambitious that it was like...
Right, and it felt like it could have been so ambitious. Like, it's so weird. Like, when people talk about Nintendo playing it safe, like, that's what I think of, is Mario Maker 2. Oh, yeah, this level, okay.
It's been kind of interesting. I did that, oh yeah, this level's cool. I've been doing that, like, Blue Sky trend of, like, 1 like equals 1 game I love or whatever. And, those things are fun, but, it's been interesting because I specifically put, like, the, you know, people that follow me know my taste in, like, Nintendo games specifically, so I didn't want to just be like Majora's Mask and WarioWare and, like, everything I talk about all the time.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to specifically do not Nintendo games, and that's been kind of like a fun, like, thought experiment. It's made me kind of, like, realize what the sort of things that I think I, like, prioritize in games, or things that I like about games in general, and I think that, like, controls are way more important to me than I think I maybe realized before doing this. Like, I find myself, as I'm writing little blurbs about these games, I'm talking about the controls, like, way more than I would have expected myself to. I'm talking about just, like, the fluidity of controls, or, like, the way it feels to play something. And, you know, a lot of my favorite non-Nintendo games are things like Jet Set Radio Future, and, you know, of course, I talked about Dark Messiah of Might and Magic and stuff, and just these games that have interesting or, like, good feeling controls or mechanics. And I don't know, I wouldn't have pegged myself as somebody who cares that much about that, but I think I do. It's interesting.
I mean, yeah, it's funny too, because, like, you know, why am I having so much issue with this water rising right now?
It's pretty crazy.
You know, like, I know how much you liked Neon White, and also,
yeah,
because, like, that's also very, very control oriented. Yeah, I think, because I know we talk about this all the time. Like, yeah, you're generally you care more about story in video games than I tend to.
Usually,
kind of. Like, yeah, it depends until you get to, like, Kirby lore, and then I'm going insane. But but yeah, I know I've always, like, seen that with you, with, like, just out of nowhere. Then you're like, yeah, you're really into Neon White or whatever.
Monkey Ball.
Yeah, Monkey Ball. And it's funny because, like, in both those cases, like, the game also happens to be real good, but I feel like a lot of it for you there is also just the vibe of them, like the turn of the millennium aesthetic and stuff. Same thing with Jet Set Radio, I guess.
Yeah, Yeah, that's true. But then also, like, you know, something like Dark Messiah of Might and Magic is the most generic fantasy story. Like, I couldn't care less about the story of that game, but it just feels so fun to play. Like, I just like it feels so like fun and unique. I don't know. Like, there's something to that, and I definitely have always like, you know, even like stuff like Marble Blast, which I guess is like pretty vibey in its own way, but it has no story or anything to speak of,
right?
Or characters or anything like that. And it's just, you know, I love like anytime a game can like sort of let me just zone out and like, I don't know, like get into the flow of like playing it. Like that's like my favorite feeling in games.
Right. Yeah. I also love that. Like just that. Getting lost in just like the pure gameplay of it, but then also the aesthetic just happens to be real good too.
Yeah, little stuff, like it's a little tiny. I mean, even like something like this, like when you start getting into the feel of like a DKC game, and you're like just the way it feels to like roll, you know, and like do like little crunchy, I don't know, control based actions. Like that's the differentiator for me. I love these little like thorny levels.
Yeah. As much as I, you know, make fun of people that always just cite, you know, Sticker Brush Symphony as like the song of the game, it is kind of the song of the game, even if it's not my favorite. But
yeah,
I can't blame people.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And also, yeah, regardless of the song, like I just love being like in the sky with these like thorn bushes and stuff.
Yeah, I love this like strange liminal thorn forest. It's like, what are we doing up here? And like, you know, you have like this weird junk. You have to be like very careful about like the way you're firing the barrels and stuff.
Another thing that I really was impressed by with Tropical Freeze specifically is that like they didn't just like David Weiss didn't just do rearrangements of all. I mean, he did have some rearrangements in there, but usually there are small parts of a song or like it's like a medley of stuff going on. Like I think the Sticker Brush Symphony part of or song in Tropical Freeze is like it's like in a very small portion that's like very missable. It's like on a barrel blast level or whatever they're called, but you only hear it in like the beginning or something. So I can tell you.
Yeah, it would have been easy to just give them like exactly what they want, right?
Right, because that's what Kenji Yamamoto tried with Returns, and I didn't like it at all. It was not very good. And you know, I like Kenji Yamamoto's work generally, but yeah, it just felt not right.
Like pandering in a way. Like just you know, like which sometimes I like being pandered to.
Yeah.
Like you know, but other times it's like, you know, like I want you to do something new and interesting, especially when it comes to David Weiss. Like you know, he could have taken the easy way out and just like, you know, did a bunch of rearrangements of all the stuff that people want to see from him, but I kind of, I respect that he didn't just rest on his laurels that way.
Is there something down here? I bet there's something down. Oh, okay, never mind. There's definitely nothing down there. Oops, okay. Right when it counted most. Mistimed the barrel blast.
That happens.
I figure when we're done with this world, take a break. Maybe I'll get a coffee on my end. We'll regroup for part 2, because I think this is the halfway point once we're through this world, if I remember.
It feels about right. Yeah.
Oops. Oh, that didn't hurt. Okay. Great. This B cycle. I've never been stung by a bee. I did the same thing? Are you kidding me?
Have I ever told you about the time when I got stung in the throat by a bee?
Nope, you definitely have not.
Okay. We were playing, I remember this so vividly. It was at, this is gonna sound like such a generic, like, Americana story. I was at my childhood friend Billy's house, and I literally had, like, a friend named Billy who played baseball. And I remember this, we were playing Aladdin on the Super Nintendo, and then at a certain point, Billy's mom made us go outside and play, and we started playing baseball with a bunch of the other kids in Billy's neighborhood, and like Billy's brother and sister and stuff. We started playing baseball, and I was running, you know, to one of the bases or whatever after hitting a baseball. I must have had like my mouth open or something, because I swallowed a bee.
Okay.
And I was trying to, like, you know, get it out, but on the way out, it like stung the inside of my throat.
Yeah, sure.
And my throat started to close up, and I had to be like rushed to the hospital. My throat started to like swell, and I couldn't breathe like out of my mouth. And it was actually really scary and dangerous, because I've had respiratory issues most of my life. I have a deviated septum, and it can actually be quite hard for me to like breathe out my nose. So
yeah, no, that sounds terrifying. That sounds awful.
it's pretty rough. Yeah, I also one time I was chased by a swarm of bees. Like Animal Crossing. I was like, one time, this is at my old house, like my kind of childhood home. We had like a literal beehive growing on the side of our shed, and I thought I was probably, I don't know, 11 or something, and I thought it would be smart to like just go and like hit it, like oh, if I just knock it down, that'll kill them all.
Yeah.
And I just like hit it with like a bat or a hammer or something like that, and it did knock the beehive down. But they do chase you, just like they do in Animal Crossing. And luckily, we had a big pool in our backyard, and so I just jumped into the pool, like with all my clothes on and everything, and they can't follow you into the pool.
Right.
But no, that's a real thing. Like they will chase you.
That doesn't surprise me. It's also funny because that is a level in Donkey Kong Country 3 where you get chased by bees and you have to hide underwater.
Yeah, that might have been where I learned it from. I don't know. But just that was like my first instinct. I just like jumped. I ran, like the second I saw them, like I just jumped and ran into the pool.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. I've never really had any bee stories. Ugh. Out of this level,
which is this level's rough. Which is funny because I've had a couple of like instances like that where like my like fight or flight response is like triggered or whatever, and like there have been some I remember one time my nephew fell into our pool when he was very young, and I just kind of like froze. And luckily my little brother was there, and he was like a Boy Scout at the time, and he like rushed in and got him. But usually my response to that is like is to freeze.
Right.
That time I flew, I guess.
Well, that's good. I also don't have any instances of having to rescue someone from falling in a pool. So I've lived a pretty boring life, I guess.
I like this dude.
He just looks mean. I mean, yeah,
just a big mean.
He's got a baseball bat with nails in it.
Yeah, just like kind of a caveman vibe. Not a super interesting boss fight either, but
nope.
I just kind of like his design. Like he looks like one of those Stretch Armstrong toys.
Yeah, he does a lot. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. The bosses in the first Donkey Kong Country are like awful. Like they're real bad. So like
you just jump on their heads a bunch.
It's nice that they're at least a little bit interesting here. Did you? No, guess not. I want coffee. I'm fading here.
I'm kind of looking forward to. I don't know if I'll have time, but there's a part of me that would like to do a stream of Banjo 2.
Oh yeah, that's in a couple days, isn't it? I totally forgot. Yeah, that sounds fun.
It's probably coming out tomorrow night. Yeah, or my time tomorrow night, I guess. But yeah, it'd be fun to do that. I haven't played that game since it came out on Xbox 360, so I 100%ed it there.
And I have never played it. I didn't even play Banjo-Kazooie all the way through until it came out on Switch.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'll be interested to hear what you think of Tui.
I guess with that said, we're gonna go on a brief break. I'm gonna make coffee, so we'll probably be gone like 5-10 minutes, something like that.
Cool.
Let me get over here real quick. I already don't remember. Oh yeah, bit harmony break. There we go. With the text that I just threw in under our bit harmony image here. So
there you go.
Let me mute these things, and we'll get some music for you in a second, and then we'll be right back. Hey, we're back. Donkey Kong Country 2, woo.
We're back.
Right before we went on break. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I'm pretty sure Mafia style is Jim, and I didn't put that together until...
That makes sense.
Yeah. He said, had the C Squad figure out boss battles for this series, and yeah, that's, it is kind of the case, especially with one. It's pretty bad in one, like, you're just jumping on, like, a giant beaver or a giant vulture, like, it's...
You just kind of bonk them on the head.
They, like, repeat, like, all the bosses, too. It's pretty bad. I mean, hey, you know, platformers frequently don't have great boss fights, but, still, though,
right.
it's pretty bad.
It's kind of tough, right? Like, it's a bit tough to, like, you know, do something mechanically interesting for a boss fight in a pretty, like, mechanically simple genre.
Right.
So I guess I get it. And I guess that's probably why a lot of them kind of, even like Metroidvania platformers like a Celeste or Ori or something, you know, in most of the cases, rather than having like boss fights, they have like chase sequences, like obstacle-based fights or something.
Right, like even the Mario series started going that way with like New Super Mario Wii and stuff, which I liked. Yeah, I liked it in New Super Mario Wii. I liked it in 3D Land, but sometimes that also, sometimes it also gets like a little boring. But for Mario, I think that works really well, especially for like getting a sense of scale and gravitas with like the final Bowser fight or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Neva that just came out, it has combat, and it's fine, but the vast majority there I think there are like 4 or 5 like boss encounters or something like that in the game, and I think only 2 of them are actually like proper combat encounters.
Okay.
A lot of it is just kind of like escape sequences, which I think is fine. The game's not really going for anything like, you know, mechanically deep with the combat, and so you can kind of forgive it for that a little bit. But what that does mean is that the final boss is supposed to be like this kind of, you know, epic feeling, almost samurai showdown sort of 1v1 thing, but really it's just kind of like, I'm just kind of dodging through her attack. I don't think I got hit, like just kind of like dodging through her attacks and just mashing X or whatever.
Right.
Until she was dead.
Yeah.
So it's
like, when I think of escape sequences, I also think of like Ori, which
totally
did them real well, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't work for every game. Okay. No. Okay.
Hey, Adam. What's up, Adam?
Oh, Adam made it?
Yeah, he's in the chat.
Can we get the spider? I want my spider back. Oh, no. Okay. We can't get that spider. It's gone.
A game that I think did that actually pretty well was Pepper Grinder. Of like, you know, here's a platformer that kind of like, you know, kind of wove its mechanics also into its combat. Like the quote-unquote combat of the game was almost just an extension of the mechanics, and because of that, I think the boss fights worked pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, yeah.
Hard to do.
Your primary verb was also not just your maneuvering, but also your main combat verb too. So I think that's partially why that works so well. Okay. You know, I will say, maybe it's also because I'm talking. The game's getting a little bit harder than I remember, or I'm just older now. I am mid-30s now, so maybe my reaction time. Yeah.
It is hard to talk, dude. Like, the video I made for Hatch Tales was rough. It was pretty bad. I was trying to talk and have like interesting things to say while playing it, and I was like, I promise I'm not this bad at the game. Like, I promise.
I haven't watched the Hatch Tales video yet because it's one of those things that I don't often watch videos for, like the ones that I've played.
Yeah, you played it.
Yeah. But that's interesting because when I think of Hatch Tales, at least you know what though, those like bonus levels in Hatch Tales, at least the 2 that I've done, got pretty dang hard. Especially
it's got some teeth to
the
it,
birds and bees one or whatever. It's not birds and bees, but whatever it's
Chicken
called.
Wiggle one.
Chicken Wiggle.
Yeah.
Sorry, also message my wife. Go ahead and keep talking.
Oh no, all good. Yeah, no, it has some teeth to it, and the Chicken Wiggle stages in particular, because you can only take one hit. They're instantly harder. Hatch Tales has a sort of hidden accessibility mechanic where if you die 5 times, I think it is, the game just gives you a third heart.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And I think if you die 10 times, the game gives you a 4th heart. I think that's the way it works. And it's neat. Like, it's neat that that's kind of like a little hidden accessibility thing that the game never really tells you about. Until the game kind of determines that you need it. But what it does mean is that I've seen people in the Atui Discord talk about, like, the later stages that are really tough, they basically just start the stage and just kill themselves 10 times.
Oh, okay.
to get all of the hearts they need. Oh, this level's sick.
Yeah, I love this world. Like, the fact that it's like a combination of Beehive and amusement park, like, incredible. Just so much creativity, and the little attention to detail of Diddy and Dixie, like raising their arms in the air as they're going down. It's very good.
Yeah, it's really good. Well, and like for as much bad mouthing as I did about fireworks, I do love the visual of fireworks.
Oh yeah, especially in a video game. Hell yeah, dude. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's sick. Adam says, "Is the game worth the 8-year wait?" It's not quite 8 years. It's a little over. I think it's like just over 7 years or something, or just over 6. I don't remember. Anyway. I like it a lot. I think it's pretty good, but I've never been as angry as other people have been about it. I understand people were frustrated about like the lack of communication, but it's really annoying because I literally can't talk about Hatch Tales without like some person online being like, yeah, but the Kickstarter though.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like that is a thing and that happened, but like I don't know what like whining about it does for you anymore. Like, like you have the game now and like it's good. So like, what are you mad about?
I think that it always comes back down to people like feel like they're having something gotten over on them, and so like they view it as like the situation sucked. I mean, I wasn't paying attention to it. I didn't know about it till all in. Oops, I made the same exact mistake there. But yeah, from my perspective, it's just like, yeah, that really sucks, but also it's fine. Like, we'll live.
Yeah, like they didn't ruin your life. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, like the way that you respond to that is, okay, well, if Atui does another Kickstarter, I'm probably not gonna support it.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
man, I'm really
that's the way you respond to that. Like, it doesn't do any good to like send Jules death threats or like, dude, like I remember when we had Jules on the podcast one time, I got like 3 DMs from different people.
That's insane.
Like, and I don't normally get DMs,
right?
But I had a DM from somebody. I wonder if I can find it. I had a DM from somebody that said something like, "You better grill his ass on the podcast about Hatch Tales and get some kind of update. And if you don't, I will find your address."
Okay. Like,
and so I just blocked them.
And all this for like this little eShop game. It's not even like if it was like leaking the next Mario or Final Fantasy or something. Okay, maybe, but like, are you kidding?
It's crazy. it's really crazy, and like I posted the video on our Twitter, and some like random person with like a Mario profile picture quote tweeted it and said, yeah, but it's unequivocally not worth the all of the pain that the Kickstarter backers have gone through.
I mean, I agree that like no game is like worth pain, but I don't know if pain is the right word in this case.
Dude, I get it, like you had to wait a really long time and it was annoying, but like as long as the final like if the game came out and it was bad, then yeah, you should be pissed, right? But like, it's not. Like, I think it's probably the best game they've ever made.
Yeah, I'm not like that familiar with their stuff, but from what I've played, like most of the Mutant Mudds games and stuff, and I definitely like it more than the Mutant Mudds games that I've played.
Yeah, like if you like what a Tui does, I think it's pretty much the best version of what a Tui does. You know, like I don't really, if you're a Tui fan, I can't imagine being disappointed. You know, and like that's what's frustrating to me is like they did deliver the thing,
right?
And in many ways they over delivered the thing. Like it's really cool that, you know, everything that was in Chicken Wiggle, even people's like 3DS levels, like the fact that you can still link like your ID and access your old levels and stuff, is really cool and like really thoughtful. And you know, and Adam said in the chat, I feel like unfortunately the game will have trouble being fairly evaluated. If it's definitely true,
yeah.
You know, because like people are just gonna hold like the Kickstarter stuff over the game's head, and nobody's gonna look at it for what it is. Like we can spend all this time bitching about, you know, how they didn't communicate and this, that, and the other, but we can't spend even a fraction of that energy talking about, oh hey, like, but actually when the game did come out, it was good.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, you know, like it's really frustrating, and it sucks for them because like, you know, it's not easier in 2024 than it was in 2017 to put out a game on the eShop and expect it to do well.
Right.
Like, the game's probably not going to sell very well, unfortunately. I hope it does, because those are good people and I like their games, but like, you know, it doesn't super bode well, and I wouldn't be shocked if like they're not able to continue making games the way they do anymore.
Right.
You know, they're certainly not going to do another Kickstarter. Because even like talking to Jules, I think he even said it like on the podcast one of the times. So he's like, yeah, like, I'm just not good at Kickstarters. he's like, I just, you know, like I would rather work on the game,
right?
You know, than feel like I have to constantly, like any effort that I'm making to, you know, constantly communicate updates on the game. Like I feel like all of my updates would have just been, yeah, we're still working on it, and,
right?
And they wouldn't have been happy with that either, you know. So yeah, it's really frustrating. And then like they had to put out these smaller little things to keep the lights on, and you know, people were pissed about that too. So it's like a no-win scenario.
It's weird too, because like, I shouldn't say it's weird, but like I think about, didn't think that bee was gonna come get me like that. All right, he just really zoned in on me. What? That hit me? I must have missed something there. Like, yeah, I think about like Metroid Prime 4 and how long people waited to see anything on the game, and then the moment we see something, everyone's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're good now. Like, people were so pissed for years, and then the moment it's like, okay, we're good. Like, yeah, I'm glad that you're good, but also what happened to all that, like, anger? Because then now you're seeing it right now on places like Reset Era and Twitter of people like kind of bracing themselves to not have the Switch 2 revealed this year, which I think is a very real possibility. And people are, I'm not even gonna care anymore. Like, I don't, if Nintendo does this, it's a joke. It's like, okay, like this is what's gonna. You're not even like a year from now. You're not gonna remember that like you were waiting for a system reveal.
Right.
Also, it's not the release date. It's just a reveal. Like, what does it matter, man?
You're so hungry to just know things. Adam says it's hard to hear us over this amazing soundtrack. I don't know if he means that the actual game volume should go down, or if he means that like I'm too busy paying attention to the soundtrack.
Let me see. I haven't really been paying attention to levels. I mean, yeah, I guess the Switch audio could go down. I didn't really. Here, let's turn it down. Let's see how that goes. Cause yeah, it was pretty high.
Yeah, that's fair. It is an amazing soundtrack, though.
Even though, yeah, Seth can't hear it right now, and I can only a little bit hear it right now. So for me, it won't be until we start really doing bit harmony that we really get to evaluate the soundtrack. This is kind of just more like an excuse to just like hang out more than anything.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I like to get my hands on every game that we cover, as long as it's feasible. And this game is so short that yeah, we could just do this real quick.
Yeah.
I wanted.
It's nice for me.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what? That killed me. Oh, those damn swoopers. Originally, I wanted to do something like this for the Mega Man 9 episode, but yeah, the schedules were just pretty hectic at the time. I had to go all the way back here, man. Video games.
I will say, I am pretty pumped. I feel like I'm going to stream a lot more when I get back from Extra Life, because I've been very vocal about this. Like, after I get back from Extra Life, I'm just going to, like, not do a damn thing, but play RPGs. I'm literally going to, like, November and December, I'm gonna like do as little as I possibly can, but play like Mario and Luigi, Dragon Quest 3, and like EZEX. I think that's gonna be like my gaming diet for the rest of the year, and I'm probably gonna be streaming a bunch of that stuff, just to feel like I'm still contributing something to my community or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Not just disappearing.
Yeah, I definitely want to play Brothership and Dragon Quest 3. Yeah, it was funny playing the demo for Dragon Quest 3 at that convention my wife and I went to, because I'm like, oh yeah, this is just Dragon Quest. Like, that's exactly. I guess I didn't really need to play this demo after all. It's exactly what I thought it was.
Just a pretty version of Dragon Quest. Yeah.
Sometimes you just, like, when I go up to the rare occasion I go to like a convention or something, the allure of like, oh, I get to play this early, like that just like overpowers all other critical thinking I have. So I'm like, well, yeah, I'm gonna sit in line for half an hour just to play Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake for 15 minutes. But it's just like, but why though? Because it just, you know what this is, man, but now that part of my brain
is just cool.
That part of my brain doesn't work when it comes to something. I mean, I get to play it like a month early. It's good. That's worth it.
I remember we were at PAX South like 2015 or 16 or something like that, and we were talking to a guy on the show floor who stopped us because my wife was doing like a sort of like light cosplay as Pascal from Animal Crossing. But like, you know, she didn't like go crazy. It kind of looked like, you know, when people go to Disneyland and they do like a light, you know, cosplay, just like kind of vaguely matching like color scheme wise. And she made a little like scallop necklace, you know, that she wore, and she had like a red shirt and a white beanie. You know, you could tell she was Pascal, like if you knew, you knew kind of thing.
Right.
Anyway, some guy stopped us, and we were talking to him for a little bit, and he was complimenting her on her little Pascal cosplay, and anyway, at the end of it, he goes, "Oh, do y'all want to play Street Fighter 5?" And I was like, "Oh, like, sure, I guess." And turned out he was one of the Capcom reps.
Oh, okay.
And so we got to play Street Fighter 5, you know, whatever, like, however long before it came out, and we basically got to like cut the line, and
that's cool.
I don't care about Street Fighter 5 at all, but it was cool.
Yeah.
It was still like I was like, yeah, like I was probably never gonna buy this game, but this is cool.
Yeah, getting to cut a line, yeah, that's super cool. When Wilk and I went to E3, we mostly just wanted to play Mario Odyssey, which we did day one, and then the rest of the time there was just like, okay, I guess we'll get in line to play Sonic Mania. And then we accidentally got in line to play Sonic Forces instead, because they were right next to each other and not marked, and no one in line knew which line was which.
Damn.
And then we on the last day we played Dragon Ball Fighters, and Wilk was very, very pumped that he beat me at Dragon Ball Fighters. Oh, okay. But yeah, there's just something about like lines, like Yeah. If I see a big line for something cool, I'm going to get in line, because what if the line gets bigger later? And
Right.
I made a big mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, they're set up that way for sure. Also, I know we talked about this a little bit recently. I bought some of that. Now that I'm in Texas, you know, Dr. Pepper is like the soda brand of Texas.
Oh, is it?
I don't know if you knew that.
No, I did not.
Dr. Pepper it's like a whole thing. Dr. Pepper is like a huge thing here for some reason. Like you go to Whataburger down here, and there's like a Dr. Pepper like float milkshake thing.
Okay.
Anyway, I was like, I feel like I need to christen my new Texan status with some Dr. Pepper, and of course I had to get the strawberries and cream. And yeah, it's really delightful. I bought like a case of it, and I haven't kept soda in the house in like, I don't know, years. And I was like, I need to just get a case of this stuff because it's that good.
Yeah.
And I'm drinking one right now, and it's good vibes.
Yeah, I forget if it was Symphony of the Night or Yokai Watch Bit Harmony, but I was like dying, and then I just cracked one of those open, and it like literally saved my life. It was great. I had never had one before. Because at our store here, like, oh man, what is happening on this level? Like, yeah, they just like randomly will import soda that like is not normally available here. And so right now there's like a bunch of different soda that I've never even seen before. And maybe in America they're widespread since I left, but yeah, that's where we found okay, now I'm really messing up. That's where we found the strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper. They also had
it rules.
Yeah, it's fantastic. They also had some kind of coconut Dr. Pepper, which I got just out of curiosity's sake. Yeah, it's good. Like it's refreshing. It's not like as exciting as the strawberry and cream one, but yeah, I was pleased with it.
Yeah, I love coconut, which is a pretty new thing for me. Like I just in the last 10 years or so, I developed, because when I was a kid I hated coconut.
Yeah, sure.
But now I love it.
Man,
I
what's happening?
actively really love it. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. Yeah, Adam says Dr. Pepper and Big Red. Yeah. Have you ever had Big Red? You ever had that soda?
Yeah, I've had Big Red before.
That's another very Texas. It's just pure, like, it's basically like a bubblegum flavored drink or something. It's like, I guess it's like a red cream soda, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I think we had that like in the employee vending machines when I worked at like Walmart or something. 15 years ago. Yeah, the main thing I associate Dr. Pepper with is a friend of mine from high school that when he went to college and lived in the dorms and then in an apartment, like all he had stocked in his fridge and freezer were like chicken tenders and Dr. Pepper. Because like that's like the two like whitest, to me that's like two of the whitest person things ever. Man, okay, I need to stop going for the DK coin on this level. This is a nightmare. And yeah, we just always made fun of him for just chicken tenders and Dr. Pepper. Again, I like both those things, but it's very, very like, oh, I'm living away from home for the first time and I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know how to cook for myself or anything. Yeah, for sure. Do you remember Eric when Eric was unemployed for a little bit? He was asking me like, because he had never like really cooked for himself, and he was asking me like about some like just simple like meal ideas for him to cook for himself because he couldn't afford to just eat out all the time or whatever anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like he was making like, you know, chicken and rice and stuff, which is, you know, pretty like healthy and stuff like that. And I remember like it was, you know, not funny, but like he, you know, he needed some guidance. Like he was like, why is my like why is my rice doing this? You know, whenever I try to make rice, and he's like, it keeps like bubbling up and stuff. Like how do I get it to stop doing that? I'm like, you gotta wash it. Like you gotta wash your rice.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, oh, like you wash rice. Like, it was stuff like that, you know. And people don't, when you are never forced to learn this sort of stuff, like You know, you just don't even realize like little things like that. Because definitely when I first started needing to take care of myself, I was doing the chicken tenders and Dr. Pepper strats.
Yeah, the strats. Yeah. Oh no, there's no checkpoint in this level. What is this?
It's brutal, dude.
Well, that's been Donkey Kong Country 2, everyone.
Thanks for watching.
Now I'm purposely going slow, but these dudes are bumping into me then, so that's not... yeah, I don't know when I learned that you had to wash rice either. That might have been like a recent thing for me, because anytime I was doing rice on my own, it was like the little bags of rice or whatever. It wasn't like I'm actually doing stuff with like fancy rice or whatever. Yeah, it's funny. I remember like Boogs asking me. I said something about like, yeah, dude, he was talking about cooking or complaining about cooking. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't spend more than like half an hour on like almost anything unless we're doing something specifically more involved. And he was like, oh, really? And then he's like, what? Could you tell me some meal ideas? I'm like, I don't know. Like, make a bake of something. I don't know. Like,
yeah, it's funny too, cause like a lot of people, you know, I'll listen to like my wife's friend that she's been staying with when she's been working at it. We now live in the same apartment complex as. She was complaining recently about like how expensive her groceries are, and it's just her and her daughter. And I guess that's not true. Her boyfriend lives with them too. But so it's her boyfriend, and her young daughter. And she's talking about how expensive her groceries are, and then we're like, yeah, we spend like less than $100 on groceries, and we're good for like 2 weeks. And she's like, how do you manage that? And it's like, well, we make really simple stuff that doesn't have a lot of ingredients, and we meal prep. And I'm not trying to. It's funny, like you talk about this sort of thing, and you come off as like you're better than them or something.
Sure.
And it's like, that's not what I mean. It's just like, this is what we do, and this is how we save money and whatever. But you do have to be comfortable with not, you know, eating something lavish and involved, and you have to be comfortable with eating the same thing like all week.
This is a nightmare. Yeah, I imagine it's different when you have a kid, right? Because I don't have a kid, so like I'll eat out of the damn trash. I don't care. My wife is not that way at all. She's like, no, you should, like, every day you should like eat or drink something nice, like at least for one meal, kind of, or snack or whatever kind of thing. And I think there's merit to that. There's merit in her line of thinking, but like before living together, I didn't. I was just like, oh, whatever. I'm gonna eat Taco Bell 4 times a week and frozen pizzas and whatever. But yeah, like I didn't realize just how much money I was spending until I lived with my wife, and then we're, mostly eating from groceries. I'm like, oh, so I was an idiot for one, to say nothing of like the health aspects of it all. But then, you throw a kid in there, because then like you really can't eat like a goblin anymore. I mean, you could, but then you got other problems happening.
Yeah, like when you have a kid though, also her kid's young. I think she's like 2 or 3 or something like that. Just, she's still really young. Like, she doesn't like talk really much or anything like that. You know, so it's very much just the sort of like, yeah, man, like just find like a little meal that your kid likes and just make a bunch of that.
Sure.
You know. Yeah, Adam says, I feel like a lot of people want something new every night, which is fine. Like, I'm not opposed to that either, but like, you know, for me, like, I'm pretty comfortable like just making something. Like, I'll just make a big batch of like curry, and I'll eat that every night for a week, man, and not get sick of it.
That sounds great. The last time, or one of the last times we went to the grocery store, I grabbed like 2 giant boxes of noodles and like 4 things of pesto. My wife was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I want to eat pesto. And she's like, yeah, but we don't need this much pesto. I'm like, yeah, but like we can. Like, it's just easy. Like, it just, it doesn't, we don't need to. Yeah, my logic is, yeah, we don't need to eat something new every night. Especially because, like, yeah, we tend to just make, I don't know, like, we're not doing new recipes very often. So it's not like we're actually eating things new. We're just doing them in a different order every week or whatever it is.
Right.
So I'm like, let me eat 6 things of pesto in a row. It's fine. But she was like, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah. I'm comfortable with that. Like I can totally I'm good with like a week of just pesto.
Yeah.
You know. Just some pasta with some pesto. It's pretty good. I'm good with that for a long time.
Totally fine by me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting how I don't know, like, and it's also the kind of thing too, like, I feel like there was a time in my life where I was maybe more picky than I am now, but if you struggle like a little bit, then it's like, all right, I'm not picky anymore, dude.
Right.
Like, I had many weeks where all we had was like ramen, you know, and that just has to work.
Right.
You know.
Hey, you can do some nice stuff with ramen if you really need to.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I'd put like an egg or like even if it had like lunch meat, I'll even put some lunch meat in there every now and then. It's pretty good.
Is there something up here? What? There has to be something up there. What are you trying to tell me, game? Alright, fine. We wasted enough time on that damn roller coaster level. It's fine. That was a nightmare. I've never had that issue before,
yeah, it was rough.
I think it's just because I'm talking, and like you really need to pay attention if you're going at full speed in that level.
Right. It definitely changes things. Like it seems like it's you know, it's tough to articulate how much it changes things when you're trying to commentate as well.
Right.
People will come into like the YouTube comments or whatever and be like, why didn't you do this at this part or whatever? And
there was this.
I'm like, yeah.
I mean, he might even, maybe he'll find me. Maybe he'll see I'm streaming right now. But whoops. When before Tasha and I lived together, like I would stream games for her a lot so she could like fall asleep to and whatever. And, okay, I knew there was a barrel coming. And it was too much work to make like a private stream. So I'm like, whatever, it'll just be a public stream. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. But then there were just some people that just find these streams of yours. And I had this one dude, I was playing Kirby's Return to Dreamland. I was emulating it on Wii. Or actually, I think I bought it on Wii U. And it was the first time I'd played it in, you know, again, probably like 10 years at that point. And he was like criticizing like everything I was doing. He's like, well, hey, you missed this, and that level. I'm like, okay, like I'm not, no, it's fine. I'm not going back.
Yeah. Yeah, people are weird about stuff like that. And, you know, there's some people like, for some reason that refined self playthrough that I did recently has been getting like a ton of views, and like the commenters have been very like nice, like weird, like a lot of people like, oh, this was a nice playthrough, and like there was one person who was like, oh, like you should you know, if you do future playthroughs, you should do this or that, or I'd recommend checking this out or whatever. And they were like, and here's like my code, because I guess you can share like codes with people to see like how your playthroughs compare and stuff like that. I'm like, I welcome stuff like that, but then some people who are like, you know, oh, you didn't do that. I'm like, well, you try like commentating and trying to be entertaining and interesting while playing a game, and you know, it's different, dude. It's not as easy as you think.
Yeah, I always, like, you know, I laughed at some Giant Bomb quick looks back in the day as much as anyone else, but, like, specifically, like, with, like, Brad, like, dying to, like, literally the first enemy in Doom 2016. Like, yeah, I laughed at it back then, too, but, yeah, it really is, like, it is, like, a skill set. And, yeah, that... It's funny that Refined Self, I did a playthrough of that. Of course I hit that dang beat. And it did strike me as a game that would be very popular with a specific crowd of people, and specifically like with like a streaming community or whatever. So I find that interesting that people are both interested in it themselves and also like being mostly nice about it. Like it makes sense because like it's not a skill-based game or anything, so there's not much chance to be shitty about it.
Right.
But I guess I underestimate people. There's probably a lot more ways to be shitty about it than I think there is.
Yeah, well, and it was also like, Adam says I barely stream at all, but I'll always tag it as casual. I usually do the same thing. And another thing that I bumped into a lot when I was doing the Pokemon Nuzlocke run was people who assumed that because I was doing a Nuzlocke run, that I was like a hardcore Pokemon guy.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, they were always surprised, like, if I forgot, like, matchings or whatever, they'd be like, oh, wow, like, you didn't know that? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, this stuff doesn't just, like, live in my head, you know? Like...
It's weird how, like, not empathetic people are for basic things like that. Like... Yeah, you know, of the original Pokemon types, yeah, I'm fine, but like you throw Fairy in there, and yeah, because I didn't grow up with it, it's a little harder for me to remember like Fairy stuff.
Right.
And, it's just basic. It's just like, yeah, man, I'm an adult, like I'm married, like I know a lot about Pokemon. I remember a lot about Pokemon, but I can't remember every single thing.
Dude, yeah, I have plenty of useless information in my brain, but like...
And a lot of it is Pokemon related, but...
Sure, yeah. But I'm not like a super fan of Pokemon anymore either. I don't remember every evolution. I don't remember every, like... I would wonder aloud on the stream, like, oh, what level do I get, like, this ability? Or like, oh, it's level... They evolve at level 26. You don't remember that? Like, you didn't know that? No, I didn't.
Not remembering what level things evolve at, that to me that's like, yeah, I don't remember what basically anything evolves at, except I played enough of Red and Blue. Yeah, Charmander evolves into Charmeleon at 16. That's about I have that down. That's about it.
Yeah, it's like little stuff like that. Or they would like if I had to, like, I would go to Google or something to to look up like which Pokemon are on a route so that I could kind of plan, like which Pokemon I would want to get or whatever, and then like somebody in the chat would would come in and like kind of backseat for me and like put that in there, like this is available here and you should go and do this and get this Pokemon or whatever, and like okay,
Or they can lure you to the Indigo Plateau route. And get you killed by your rival, yeah.
that happens sometimes too.
To be fair, I didn't remember that there's an optional rival fight there either.
Yeah, that was funny. It was memorable. Oh man.
Oh. I'll just say again. Either old age or the commenting and streaming, but yeah, I'm struggling with some of these. This is
it's ramped up for sure. I would not be doing any better if I were in your shoes.
Wait, why was it so easy that time? What did I do different? I don't understand. All right, whatever.
Sometimes it's also just like, oh yeah, like you just kind of got the right cycle that time. Like you just kind of hit things the right way that time or whatever.
Okay, King Zing Sting is a great name for a boss. And also, yeah, I find that the best boss fights in this game, and probably in 3, are the ones where they just turn you into animal buddies.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they really could have just, you know, gotten away with that. Just give me a whole Animal Buddies game.
It really is wild that they never brought in any of them but Rambi into Return to Tropical Freeze.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of like little personal life stories that I'm resisting to talk about here because I want to make sure that we talk about them on the podcast. But we had a little stint of my life where we lived with my friend Justin's cousins, and it was like 10 kids in one house. It was like me, my sister, and like Justin, his sister, his brother, and all of their like cousins, just all in one like house. Like we were sleeping in like bed, like we all had to share beds with each other. And anyway, Donkey Kong Country in general makes me think of that time because I was introduced to a lot of Super Nintendo games at that time, and Brandon was his name, his cousin, and he was like way into Donkey Kong Country, and this one in particular.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, this one, I mean, this is the one that captured my imagination the most. You know, I say that, but 3 also really captured my imagination. I think even as a kid, I recognized that 2 was definitely the best, but like I have a very big soft spot for 3. I think 3 kind of rules, even if it's not quite as good as 2.
Yeah, like 2 for me is the peak, but like I definitely do go like 2, 3, 1.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you know, 3 has like a fun like there's a this is gonna make no sense, but hopefully you can kind of pick up what I'm putting down. There's like a Lester's Possum Park kind of energy.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
To DKC3, like
it feels
like a sort of.
It feels like weird, like European, like white trash in that game.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to
explain it. It's got like a Country Bears jamboree, you know, sort of thing.
Wow, what a snipe I just had! Holy crap! I just gotta not die.
See ya, Adam. Yeah, we may or may not be on when you're back from your meeting, but thanks for popping in.
If we keep running into levels like the last couple, we will.
Yeah, but 3 has a pretty like particular vibe. Like this is kind of like dark pirates and beehives and you know and mines and stuff, and yeah, there's just kind of like a weird like I don't know, like there's something about it. It reminds me of like like a European take on like Americana, like it's got like a weird like almost like a Dollywood sort of vibe to it, like just sort of I don't know, like it has a very interesting vibe.
Yeah, like I love how lake focused and forest focused it is. Like lakes are such a European thing to me, and like that. Yeah, that was just the one that. Okay, here's my favorite song in the game, even though I can't hear it very well right now. Yeah, no, I love 3, and yeah, Jim in the chat's also saying 3 is underrated. The only thing I'll say about 3 that I don't like as much is I think the DK coins are, because in that one none of them are really hidden. They're always like they're being used as a shield by those enemies that are holding them, and then it's usually like a puzzle to figure out how to kill the enemy that's holding the DK coin. I find that is much less interesting in that the answer is usually just like okay, you gotta find a barrel and then roll it on a wall behind him and then it bounces back. Like it's just almost always a variation of that. But that's kind of the main complaint I have with 3. Otherwise, I think 3, the soundtrack isn't quite as good, but it's still very good.
Still really good. Yeah, it's a lot of just like whitewater rapids and you know. I don't know, something about it, like something about it makes me think of like American like amusement parks or something. Like Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you're on that world map and you're building different like vehicles. That kind of makes me think of like theme parks. Also, you're finding
Great Wolf Lodge.
Yeah, you're also finding like those little hidden caves with the banana birds or whatever. That also kind of feels like being at a theme park, and you're on like some little. It's like Nintendo World, like with the. I don't, stupid. Leave me alone. Okay, this timing seems very tight. Okay, we got it. Yeah, 3 is very special to me, and that's why I like Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, because it feels like a direct sequel to 3 specifically.
Definitely.
Because like they bring back the concept of an overworld, but it's way more interactive. Even like some of the level gimmicks remind me specifically of 3. Like there's the one level that they just like rotate on its side, and you have to like scale up it, kinda. That feels like something they would have done in 3. I always remember my mom and I played all 3 of the Donkey Kong Country games together. And near the end of 3, there's a level, an underwater level in like the castle, and it has like purple fog or something, or it's purple water, and your controls are reversed. And like to her, she still brings that up like 30 years later. She's like, do you remember that level in Donkey Kong Country where the purple water and your controls are reversed? Like that's like family lore, and like that we made it through that level, kinda. Yeah, I think that's really, really cool.
I love that stuff. Yeah.
Oh no, another one of these. Okay, this one, I remember this one being cool though.
Did y'all, where you grew up, did you have any like small like hyper specific like amusement parks or anything that like there's one that I'm thinking of that was in Chicago. I'm sure it's still around. It was called Haunted Trails.
Well, since I grew up near Chicago, I do remember that name, Haunted Trails. I couldn't tell you what it is, but I remember that name.
Yeah. Well, it's not really an amusement park. It's like a Chuck E. Cheese sort of thing, but it's like
okay.
But it's like a it's like a like Halloween themed kind of one of those, like you go to your birthday parties there, you know, and like they have go-karts and arcade games and stuff like that there. But it's just very funny because it's like very specifically like Halloween themed, which is just, you know, obviously once a year.
Right.
So you go to Haunted Trails in like June and like nobody's there. Like my birthday's in September, and I used to like having my when I lived there, I used to like having my birthday parties there because Haunted Trails was just cool to me. And it was close-ish to Halloween, but like, you know, like just I always wondered like how they manage. Like, no, like, dude, we would always be the only people there.
Sure.
Like, you'd think we rented it out or something. Just no, nobody else is here.
I don't remember if I'm sure we did have stuff like that, but yeah, I can't, or not the Halloween specific aspect of it, but yeah, like local things like that. I'm sure we did, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. I know in Findlay there was this like, it was called Ghost Town, and it was like meant to look kind of like an old westy or like frontier village. That's and like cool. I think it was there for field trip purposes. Like,
yeah,
you go there and like you're exploring this frontier village or whatever. And oh god, that jump is insane. But that said, like most of the time it was actually like abandoned. Like they must only do it in like fall or whatever. I remember my one friend was like, "Hey, you ever go to Ghost Town?" I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Because I didn't grow up in Findlay when I moved there when I was a teenager. It's like, Ghost Town, you know, man, I'm really goofing this up. So like being dirtbag, like late teens or early 20s, yeah, we went to Ghost Town when we shouldn't have, when we weren't supposed to, and a couple times. And yeah, like you could see like there are like mannequins in like the windows, so like You look in, like you're just there. It is completely abandoned. It looks like an old west town, and like you look through a window and you see like a human figure in there, kind of thing. Like yeah, we did stuff like that. But yeah, that's not an amusement park so much as like a field trip destination for kids, I think.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. Like I just love those like just hyper specific, like I don't know, like little areas that exist for just a singular purpose, even though it like doesn't even really make good business sense.
Right. Like yeah, you could tell like someone had like a passion for this somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on Haunted Trails is still very much a thing, and it's funny because it's a little bit buried, but you can still go there, and they still have the old like logo. It's just like a zombie dude,
Okay.
like holding like a little sign that says Haunted Trails. This is the same like logo I remember from when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's funny. I feel like there's like something that's like trying to claw its way to my memory about like a local theme park or something, but it's probably gonna turn to like a creepy pasta, and I'm gonna like unearth some like hidden memories.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, this level with the wind. Okay. Oh
yeah.
Wasn't expecting that shift in the wind there.
Oh yeah, you can go and get freaky fries and vampire garlic wings and.
Why are they vampire garlic wings if they're garlic?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe to ward off the vampires or something. I don't know. Bloody funnel fingers, which are like they're fries, but they have the texture of like funnel cake.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Like it's actually kind of good. Like it kind of tastes like lightly sweet. Like I think they batter the potato in like funnel cake batter. And,
okay.
I don't know. It's kind of good. This is funny, man. I haven't looked at this in a long time. Oh yeah, and just like shitty pizza.
Of course, there's always shitty pizza somewhere in the way. Oh, this is awful. Oh God! I guess I should just supposed to cartwheel into those porcupines. All right, these checkpoints are getting ridiculous now.
Yeah, checkpoints are pretty bad. The first thing we ate when we moved in here was we have a Domino's. We live just off of this like main drag, and there's a Domino's like right by. And I was like, oh, like some pizza would really hit right now.
Yeah.
Domino's is cheap, And yeah, that like post move, dude, my shirt was just like soaked through with sweat. And, like,
what the hell?
My foot's like. Yeah, my foot was like bleeding. My shirt's like soaked through, but I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this Domino's pizza is saving my life.
You're
right
just
now.
partaking in the zest.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, how the hell did that dude get me? This is a nightmare right now.
I just saw that jump that just happened. That like missed, like for some reason, like it didn't put you on the platform.
Uh huh.
I don't understand how that happened. That doesn't make sense.
We're making it. We're making it. Maybe. I would love a checkpoint. It would be very nice. Yeah, I think there's only one more world after this one, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everything's gonna be okay. I did want to vacuum.
Those little
today,
sword dudes are good.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're some of the most memorable enemies in the game to me, also because like they're very annoying to actually kill. But yeah, getting their sword stuck in the ground is very good. Oh, this is a nightmare. You gotta adjust to the wind like a... Jeez.
Yeah.
I think it costs 15 coins per level. Apparently we could also have the snake here. 15 coins per like secret levels. Theoretically we could do 2 secret levels, but we're running a little behind what I thought the schedule would be, so maybe we just won't do that.
Yeah, all good.
And yet I'm gonna be an idiot and carry this cannonball with me. For no reason.
It is also funny because Dixie is just like objectively better.
Yeah, literally the only time.
All of them.
Yeah, the only time you don't want Dixie in this game is if you're climbing on stuff. That's the only time.
Right. Yeah, but otherwise she just has so much more maneuverability, and she also just like is the best Kong just in general.
Yeah, she's the best design.
Best design. She's got the cool guitar.
What the hell was that? We didn't hit a checkpoint, did we? Oh no, we did hit a checkpoint. Thank God. And then they had the audacity to replace her with, was it Tiny Kong in 64?
Yeah.
Garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do like the Diddy Dixie duo better than Dixie and Kitty, at least. But you know, at least it doesn't feel, it doesn't feel like you're playing second fiddle or something like that. Like,
yeah,
like Kitty is so firmly the sidekick that like it kind of works.
I was never
this.
I was never on board the Kitty hating train. I know a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't hate him.
A lot of people want to talk some guff on Kitty Kong. I think he's alright. Oh, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, I mean the big thing that I don't like about Kitty Kong is his feet. I'm not a fan of those feet.
What, that they're like in the little the pajama slots?
Yeah, with like the loose like they don't fill in like the feet, like they just have like little loose parts of the toe like hanging off. I don't like that.
Yeah, okay. Oh, is this the one? Is this the level that has the purple squawks? Yeah, it is. Okay. I didn't remember that he was also in 2.
He's also got like a big pacifier around his neck. His little. Yeah, it's really the design more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I get they're going for like the big dumb baby archetype. It's weird that that's an archetype. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Kitty Kong was fine. I like him more than Chunky Kong and Lanky Kong.
Yeah,
for
Chunky and Lanky suck.
Probably gonna regret this if Dixie dies, but if she doesn't die, all we have to do is not die, and then we will have no regrets. It is cool, like, you could say the same thing about 3, just like how many like gimmicks are in this. Like, it really still feels pretty modern in that sense. Like, every level, or just about every level, feels pretty unique. Like, I don't think they revisit this purple Quox or whatever you said his name was until 3.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety.
Okay, Dixie's dead. Well, we're just gonna die then.
Dixie, a world without Dixie ain't a world worth living in.
Oh, we got her back. Everything's okay. And a checkpoint. See, now this is reasonable. That's a reasonable checkpoint.
Funny. I wonder like how intensive like the testing process of a game like this goes, of like where design wise, like where checkpoints should be placed and stuff. Like, if the dude playing this is just good at those levels, he's like, probably good to just put a checkpoint like here.
Right, because you also see that like with Mario Maker. Like, even myself, I thought my levels weren't that bad, but then like my wife was like, why did you do this? Like, what? Like, what sick psychopath does this? I was like, I thought it was easy. Like, it genuinely wasn't meant to be super crazy hard or anything. I genuinely thought it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, like, I've played so much Mario in my life, and I play tested my own levels. So yeah, you lose perspective. I feel like that happens with like a lot of games. I feel like I heard that a lot in like this era of games. Like, for one, they just tended to make games harder because of like the value proposition or whatever. That's how they could increase the value. But like, I look at something like how the hell did like some of the later game stuff in the original Ninja Gaiden get through any kind of testing? Like,
yeah,
unless like you purposely were going for, we're just gonna screw you over constantly. Yeah, I don't know. Or like the Ghouls and Ghosts and Ghosts and Goblins games, like, those don't really feel fair, but at least in those cases, those were originally arcade games, so I get it. Like, that was the point of them. Jim just goes, he's a baby.
I mean, yeah, he is a baby.
Okay.
It also, you know what though, the feet thing kind of implies that like they're hand-me-downs, like they weren't, like those clothes weren't bought for him.
Oh no, that's true. What the? He came off that hilltop? What's happening right now? Get me out of here. Yeah, maybe Kiddy Kong is like the least loved child. Is he like?
Yeah, like.
Was he supposed to be Funky Kong's like nephew or something? Is that what? Or no, he was Dixie's nephew, I think, or
yeah,
like cousin.
Dixie. I don't know how the Kong. Wait, hang on a minute. Can we Kong family tree? What's the lore? Like, how does this all connect?
How does this all piece together?
Oh, somebody here has an image where it says Donkey Kong family tree in the, what's that? Is it called like Jeepers font? Like that, or is it Creeper font or something?
Yeah,
that, like,
maybe.
that bloody looking font.
God,
there's so many versions of this. What's a trustworthy source? I feel like there must be an official source for this. Huh. Okay. Yeah, this can't be right. This is way more confusing than I expected. Okay, Cranky and Wrinkly are at the top of the tree.
yeah, that makes sense. That I agree with.
Then Donkey Kong Jr. Oh, hang on. And then Donkey and Candy are, I guess,
Lovers.
brother and sister, or lovers or something.
No,
Yeah.
because like everyone has like a crush on. Okay, I remember from the animated
Yeah.
TV show, they were lovers. I should stop saying lovers in relation to Candy Kong and Donkey Kong, but that is the implication.
But then, weirdly, there's like a side tree here that has Donkey Kong Jr. like multiple versions of Donkey Kong Jr. that all like this can't be right, because this one says like there's like 3 versions of Donkey Kong Jr., one of which gave birth to Kitty and Chunky, one of which gave birth to Dixie and Tiny, and then another that just gave birth to Diddy. So,
Okay. I don't like how much birth in that Donkey Kong Jr. is doing, because I'm also imagining it's like some eldritch horror and it's just like laying eggs that the Kongs are coming out of.
right. Just like you know, which version of which dimensional Donkey Kong Jr. Has spawned Kitty and Chunky.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense to me. That right. So Chunky is Kitty's older brother, right? That must be what's happening there.
I guess so. Yeah.
That makes sense. They have similar physiologies. They're both big boys. That's what they're known for.
I like this better because this family tree does have a giant block of just relationship unknown.
Okay.
So this seems a little more informed. So we got Cranky Kong and Wrinkly Kong. They're married. Their children are two different versions of Donkey Kong Jr., I guess. Which one of them is like the pink Donkey Kong Jr., the other is like the other, like, I guess, more official Donkey Kong Jr.
Okay.
That one had a child, and that was Donkey Kong.
Okay.
Donkey Kong and Candy Kong are a couple. Donkey Kong's nephew is Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong, according to this, are a couple.
Okay, yeah.
Dixie Kong's sister is Tiny Kong.
Yeah, that I remember.
Dixie Kong and Tiny Kong are cousins to Kitty and Chunky, who are brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And Lanky Kong is, I guess, Chunky Kong and Diddy and Kitty Kong's uncle once removed.
Okay. Well, there you go. We figured it out.
I guess, but the jury's still out on who their father is. Now they have a whole list. There's Baby Kong, Eddie the Mean Old Yeti, Bluster Kong, Kong Fu, Dread Kong, Karate Kong, Ninja Kong, Sumo Kong, Cactus Kong.
A lot of those are from like Jungle Beat, I think, right? Like Kung Fu,
yeah.
I think.
Of course, there's Funky and Swanky Kong, who are their relationship to the family tree is unknown. There's Redneck Kong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jim says, "Did Candy and DK ever procreate? Let's get the fan art." I'm sure there's plenty of fan art out there.
They also have a little box that says Kong reject orangutans.
Oh right, because I know what they're talking about. Also, yeah, from Mario RPG, they just got like enslaved
Chained
Donkey
Kongs.
Kong. Yeah.
They have the manky Kongs are the orangutan enemies in the game Donkey Kong Country. The only Kongs in the game that are actually enemies. In fact, these orangutans are described as Kong reject orangutans, implying that they've been exiled from the Kong family for their savagery.
That reminds me of at the end of Spider-Man 3 when like the news reporter is reporting on like Sandman and Venom like killing Spider-Man, and then she's British and she's like, the brutality of it. Like I like savagery, especially in relation to Donkey Kong lore. Like they threw those barrels too savage.
Yeah, like what really differentiates the Kong reject orangutans from the core Kong family. That's funny. Yeah, even in like the early, like when they just really, when the Mario lore, when they didn't care really about any of that stuff, and they still really don't, but
Right.
The original like lore from the Goombas, if you read like the instruction manuals and stuff, is that they were like just angry Mushroom Kingdom like rejects, like societal, like people that lived on like the fringe of the Mushroom Kingdom that joined, like they were citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom, but they joined Bowser's army because like the Toads and the princess and stuff didn't accept them.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. That's actually like cool lore stuff.
Yeah, and like it makes sense because they look like mushrooms, even though they're supposed to represent like chestnuts, I guess. And there's all that sort of thing, but there's like, I don't know, like there's it's funny that like both of these franchises have like enemies that operate on the societal fringe of the good guys that have been rejected from society.
A thing I always think about with Mario lore and specifically Princess Peach is that in like the beginning of Bowser's Inside Story, God, that you see the inside of like a Toad's house before they get affected by the blorbs, and they've just got like a giant portrait of Peach in there. It's very like communism coded, or like how what people think of, like the idea that like the citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom just like have, there's like, oh, our dear leader Princess Peach, like a giant portrait of Peach in their living room or whatever, is very funny to me.
Yeah, like just very like devoted to their leader, like kind of blindly.
And that makes sense from like that is kind of how I interpret the Toads. They just seem like idiots. But that's what I like about them. Oh god, what happened?
Yeah, it's funny because I think that like probably the like, you know, 1980s read on Toads when they were designing that dichotomy was probably just like, oh well, why wouldn't you worship the princess? She's the pretty princess,
right?
You know?
And you're just little sort of mushroom boys, yeah.
Right. So like, you know, and the Toads would say stuff like in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, like Toad would talk about like stuff like that, you know, like, oh, the princess so like good-hearted and kind and stuff and whatever, and like there is all of that stuff that is still persistent in like the representation of Toads, but also, you know, like it's a little bit weird. Like they are just kind of like dumb followers of Peach,
right?
For no reason. And especially in the Mario movie, like it was kind of interesting. It's probably the one interesting little bit of like little sliver of like story anything we got in that movie was like Peach's origin, you know,
right?
Or whatever,
the implication of her origin, yeah.
Yeah, like coming through the warp pipe and like essentially being raised by Toads and like immediately made their queen is kind of interesting, and I don't know. Peach is an allegory for Mao Zedong, says Jim.
Again, we got so much symbolism going on in Donkey Kong Country and Mario today.
Yeah.
Oh no. These damn hook dudes with the crazy coats are back. Oh god. Oh man, how are you supposed to avoid that? Yeah, the animation of Dixie being blown upward by the wind is very good.
Yeah, pretty sick.
Oh no, oh god. No! Oof. Okay, that was insane. I'm feeling like God Gamer right now.
Did you wind up playing the demo for Metaphor?
I have not yet, no.
Okay. I was curious what you thought about it. Because like I've watched some gameplay of it, and like it sounds really good and cool and everything. I don't think I'm in the mood, to be honest. I don't know if I I everything sounds good like on paper, but I don't know if I'm in the mood for like a Persona. I don't like Persona that much.
I don't either. Like, I've never actually finished a Persona game. I think, weirdly, I am more tempted to play Metaphor right now because of how much I was enjoying Bloomtown, which I didn't finish either, but I did play like 15 hours of it, and I quite liked it, and then I'm like, oh, should I play a Persona game? And then they released basically a Persona game right after that, and I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see myself wanting to play this. I'll be honest, I don't like Persona Combat is my biggest issue with Persona games, besides like whatever issues they have with like the story and whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's a thread on Reset Era that's like, is the Persona Combat like the greatest turn-based battle system of all time, and I'm just like,
crazy.
I was like, what? Yeah. No, not at all. Why would you think that?
Yeah, like I've always found the combat to be fine, and like I played a lot of Persona 4, and I played through Persona 5 when it was new. I didn't play Royal or anything like that, but like and I liked them, but I've just there's such a fervor for Persona that I've just never like really connected with. For me, it's actually I don't really like the schedule stuff, like the time management and like the day to day. Like I've never like I don't hate it. It's just kind of fine. Like I don't really care about that sort of thing. I guess I don't know. And it's the one thing that I've never really felt like was like an amazing part of any Persona game. Like I'm there more so for the vibes, I guess. And the characters.
I'm kind of with you. I like the idea. Okay, God, that hook was just unavoidable. Like, I think the schedule stuff and like the time limit or whatever you want to classify it as, I think it's awesome on paper, and I think it really adds to the slice of life aspect of the game. You know, I just reviewed that new Shin-Chan game, which doesn't have the the Boku no Natsuyasame like limited amount of time to complete what you're trying to do thing. And like I really missed that because like that's a big part of like the replayability of those games is like how do I accomplish what I want to accomplish in a set amount of time. So I think I really like that stuff in Persona in theory or on paper. The issue becomes with how damn long those games are. Like it's not about then the replayability, it's about like doing everything you can do. Oh God, what did I do? So that's kind of my issue with it, is that I think it's really cool on paper, but in practice I'm just like, it feels overwhelming in the context of a 100-hour RPG that I'll probably never play again.
Yep, that's exactly what I mean. Like even, like I love Majora's Mask. I like games with time management stuff. Like I don't mind the idea of it, but like yeah, it's because the game is so like it's so long and there's so much to do that like if you want to do everything, you have to like really min-max like that sort of like system, and I don't really structurally I don't super like that.
Right. Because I remember when I was playing Persona 5, I forget if it was like someone online or someone I know that was also playing it, basically told me like, oh, you should just restart because like you didn't start advancing this character's like social link early enough. I'm like, what? Like, how am I supposed to know? Like,
not into that.
I would be more tempted to try and start a new file on Octopath Traveler, but again, I'm not gonna do that either because I want to play Dragon Quest in a few weeks. Like, I want to play the Metaphor demo. It's just I've been playing all this other stuff right now, and like that's something that I feel like I really need to sit down with, and I haven't had that type of time for a demo. Another thing is I'm like, that demo is supposed to be really long. Do I want to spend that much time with a demo if I'm not even going to buy the game? Or, if I do get it, I would like to play it on Steam Deck if we end up owning a Steam Deck. Because, like, if we get it on PlayStation, my wife is almost always hogging the TV. Like, I wouldn't have any opportunity to really play something like that on PlayStation unless she's also interested in watching, which, as of right now, she claims she is not. So, there's just, like, a whole litany of issues of... For me, if something isn't on Switch, there's already, like, inherently an uphill battle unless my wife is also interested in it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm in the same boat. Yeah, it's interesting too, because like, it's not as like when I played Persona 4 Golden was the first Persona I got really into on Vita, and like I really liked it. And then when Persona 5 came out, I liked it too, but in both cases, it didn't have a lot of competition.
Right.
And like now I have no shortage of RPGs to play, like even just this year. Like I would way rather play Mario and Luigi and Dragon Quest and like Ys X even than, you know, take a chance on this game that sounds cool, but it's like I'm probably not gonna like it as much as everybody else. So like, why, you know, it's a safer bet for me to play any of those other games.
Right, especially like,
you know, but
Atlas games go on sale at pretty decent prices, so it's just like, whereas like Square Enix games don't as fast, I feel like. So it's like, yeah, between Dragon Quest 3 being on Switch and I know that Dragon Quest is a known quantity, and then yeah, just being able to easily play it. Yeah, like I'm much more excited about playing Dragon Quest 3 than Metaphor, even though I don't doubt that Metaphor is much more ambitious or whatever.
Right, and then like it also sucks because, and like you hate to be the person to like feed into this sort of thing, but like, you know, whatever. And by the time I finally get around to Metaphor, are they gonna make Metaphor Royal, you know, or whatever, basically,
sure.
You know? So like that all sucks too, and I don't know. I like it just like all of that stuff just turns me off from even giving it a chance, and I hate to be close-minded like that.
Right. No, I mean that's also the thing. It's just if I get die here, I'm gonna be pissed. I mean, yeah, if something isn't like screaming out to you, a thing that I've learned in recent years, especially like, you know, doing these like reviews for like Jason, and then like having access to like the all-in account and stuff, is like in theory I would have loved to play all the way through Bloomtown, because I liked what I played of Bloomtown more than Persona 5, even though I recognize again it's not as polished of a game or whatever. Or like, yeah, like Jason was talking about, like we were talking about like Slitterhead. I'm like, yeah, that would be cool to play. Maybe we should try and get the code for that. But I'm like, I'm playing like 4 other things right now, including another thing for review that I haven't even started yet. Like, it can wait. Slitterhead can wait like years as far as I'm concerned. Like, I used to have the mentality of like, well, I want to make sure I throw support something's way, whether that be buying it or in this case trying to review something and like make people more aware of it or blah blah blah. But like, I'm not employed by any of these companies at the end of the day.
Right.
So like, I don't have that mentality as much nowadays.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, it's hard to like it's hard to like, I guess, retrain my brain to that, because there's certain games that I just know are not for me right now, like Lorelei and Animal Well, and some just like, I know this isn't, I'm not saying it'll never be, I'm not saying the games are bad, it's just not my vibe right now.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, like I have this itch in the back of my brain of like,
I was at the checkpoint. You saw.
So annoying. Yeah, I'll see it here in like 10 seconds. Yeah, but there's like this itch in the back of my brain of like, oh, can you really like fully evaluate the year without having
right, exactly. I remember, what year did Wolfenstein the New Colossus come out? Like 2018 or something like that? 17
or 17, yeah.
And I remember Giant Bomb. I loved listening to Giant Bomb Game of the Year stuff. Like, that used to be like my favorite. That was like my podcast event of the year back then. And then when they got to like the best story category, they were like, hey, heads up, we're gonna do huge spoilers. We're gonna talk about everything in New Colossus. And I was planning on playing it, but not like anytime soon. But then I'm like, well, I want to hear this podcast. So I went home that night, I paused the podcast, went home from work, bought New Colossus and played it in like 2 sittings, and probably have a much worse opinion of it because I blasted through it so fast just to listen to this podcast. I'm like, well, I want to be part of the conversation. Even though I'm not actually, I'm literally not part of the conversation. I'm just someone hearing a part of a conversation about it. But yeah, I genuinely felt like obligated. And that was kind of the last time I felt that. Because like, I felt real dumb afterwards, even though I liked New Colossus. Like, I don't even remember them saying anything that spoilery. I'm sure they did a little bit, but I don't remember anything crazy. Like, yeah, you go kill Hitler on the moon, or whatever. Like, I could have guessed that. It's not that big of a deal. So that was kind of the last time I really felt that kind of specific pressure. But it is like a little bit different when you're like a content creator and like you're more in like the public eye. I get kind of like I understand. Like, I was about to call you like, or I was about to call myself like a video game civilian, whereas like you're in the trenches more, kinda.
I guess. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But like, again, I don't think that's enough to justify like, well, I guess I gotta blast through Metaphor next week kind of thing. But no, I at least understand more so where you're coming from with it. Whereas like me, I'm like, no, I'm never gonna do that again. Unless it's like, if it's something I want to play, like, then I could see myself doing it again, but like it has to be something I'm already interested in, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I value more now. Like I've, more and more I've just gotten to this place where like I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna do what I want to do, which is fine. But it's also interesting because those things, even when you think that they line up with what is whatever popular or what you think people want to hear, sometimes it doesn't. Like, I feel like everybody has bounced off of talking about Zelda, like, basically immediately.
Not Jim.
And, yeah, not Jim. Well, maybe that says something about the game, but, like, I feel like the greater online collective has, like, basically stopped talking about it full tilt from what I've seen.
Yeah, I have not seen much of it the past, like, couple weeks,
Yeah, and like, for me, like, that was, I'm not saying it's my game of the year or anything, it's not. But like, it was the kind of thing where I was like, oh man, like, all I wanted to do, and part of that was because I was moving and stuff, and I probably needed some kind of distraction and whatever, but yeah, I blasted through that thing. It was like all I wanted to do, was like all I wanted to play, and I wanted to talk about it with people. But like, I've reached out to like 4 different people about doing like a spoiler cast review thing, and some of them have either ghosted me, or some of them like, yeah, I actually haven't finished it yet. I don't know. I just haven't got done with it yet.
Yeah,
like, oh.
that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I haven't turned it on in like 2 weeks. Like, I like it just fine, but it doesn't like it's not like exciting to me in the way that like,
that seems to be the case of a lot of people.
Like Tears of the Kingdom, I was like chomping at the bit to talk about it, even though I had complaints with it. But yeah, I don't know. There's just, to me, there's not that much interesting to actually like, say about Echoes of Wisdom. Ugh, God. Ugh. This is when the game starts getting insane, I remember. We're only a few levels from the end now, though.
Yeah, you're pretty much there, yeah.
If I remember...
It's funny.
There's like a level where you switch between like all the animals. Ugh. And then there's like the last bramble level and the final boss. There might be another level in there. But sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just, it's interesting to me because like I know a lot of people, and it's, it's not like, I get it. Like I do think that like it's telling that, that so many people have kind of bounced off of it, and maybe some of it is that the game doesn't have like, even though it does lift a lot of like mechanical things from Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, like it doesn't show as well. Like you can't break the game in quite the same way or whatever. But like,
when I was talking to Jim earlier, because I think Jim's never played Tears of the Kingdom, and I was trying to explain like what was exciting to me about like Tears of the Kingdom, and like explain to him like, oh yeah, you could build like a spaceship and launch like Koroks into the atmosphere and stuff. And he was like, oh
yeah,
because there isn't that, and I understand, it's an overhead game. It's meant to be more simple, regardless of the limitations of it. And yeah, there isn't that like excitement there for me, even though I do think the puzzle solving in Echoes of Wisdom is very clever and good. But yeah, there's just like a lack of excitement for me, even though prior to the game coming out, yeah, that was like one of my most anticipated games of the year, like as little as like 2 months ago,
Right. Well, it's funny because like, and maybe it's because, I mean, yeah, I get it. Like you know, that's the title of the game, is Echoes of Wisdom, and like the ways that it, you know, bridges the gap between modern 3D Zelda and classic overhead Zelda. That's all well and good, and that's interesting and stuff, but like I feel like there's more to the game than that. That like you know, there's a lot in there that I kind of I would like to talk about. The representation of Zelda and her characterization, and like her Link's characterization in the game, and like some of the little stories, like the story that is like around the like ice area, I think is really cool and good. And you know, little things like the way that the game kind of like encourages you to think about the way you even just engage with exploring the world, like just getting around. It seems like it's an unpopular opinion, but I think the combat is really cool and interesting. And for me, I'm like, man, like it'd be kind of neat if like if this is planting the seeds of Zelda as like a summoner kind of character, if there's some kind of cool like gameplay evolutions we can bake into that.
I mean, yeah, because that's also how she plays in Smash Ultimate in 4 with the she has that armor, which is my favorite thing about her in Smash. I actually think Zelda's really fun to play in Smash, so yeah, I'd be totally down if they fully leaned into that in a mainline game. Yeah,
like that'd be cool. And like, you know, I think about like the future of the series, and like people, you know, now that we're kind of more warmed up to like playable Zelda, it'd be kind of cool if like there was some kind of, you know, playable Zelda thing in the next mainline 3D game where she has a full suite of tools of like, you know, summoning. And I don't know, like there's some stuff like that I find interesting, but it just seems like because everybody was, I think, expecting to be maybe hit a little bit harder by the core mechanic of the game, like they've sort of like not, they've allowed that to like lessen their appreciation of the other elements of the game, I guess.
Yeah, I could see that.
Which I think is just sort of like my read on it, and I have issues with that too, but you know, is what it is.
Oh, are you kidding me? Okay. All right. What a great start. I mean, hey, I did the Toxic Tower first tries. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
It helped that you were the one mostly talking about Zelda there, so.
It's interesting because I definitely, with the Koopa cast in particular, I was like, oh yeah, like I should definitely get like a panel together. And yeah, I thought people were going to be like clamoring for that from me. And yeah, nobody is.
Yeah, that's interesting. that is genuinely very interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know what it is, because like I feel like most of the Zelda fans that I know like really love the game. Like you, Colin, Wilk, like you all seem to really love it. Tosh really likes it. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Because like for me, I was thinking like, oh, it's just because I'm not that big of a fan of, as big a fan of Zelda games. But then like Hunter and Jim, they both like, Jim in particular loves Overhead Zelda, and he's just like, yeah, I don't know about this. So yeah. I don't know what it is.
It's interesting. Well, and like that kind of attracts me to the game even more, right? Like I like it when if there's something that people are so divisive on, like it means that the game is doing something interesting. And I do just appreciate like the boldness of the game, I guess, more than anything else. Like it's kind of cool that the game that Nintendo, you know, the otherwise fairly safe Nintendo is making something that like, you know, is willing to piss people off, you know, like,
yeah,
they had to have known that there were going to be people that weren't going to vibe with those certain elements of the game. But like, to me, that's what makes the game interesting, and to others, that's what makes the game dull.
Right.
You know? So,
yeah, and like, to me, it just, from my perspective, it felt like a lot of stuff just wasn't taken as far as it could or should have. And then you have like, you know, the basic UI stuff, which is just like, yeah, that's not the fault of like the it's not the fault of like the game mechanics. It's just the fault of like some of their design stuff. But again, it was clearly done on purpose, so like, who am I guess, but, oh no, I hate these dudes, stop grabbing me. I just want to get out of this hellhole. And then this level is just like a race level once we get to the checkpoint, I think. Oh god. Oh, thank Christ.
Also, are those dudes supposed to be like a Sonic the Hedgehog?
I was wondering that because they look dopey.
Yeah.
Like they're making fun of Sonic, and then
just like stupid Sonic.
Do you remember like what the end of the game where like you're ranked as like a hero or whatever?
Yeah.
And then like third place is like Yoshi, and then second is Mario, and then Link is number 1, or maybe Mario's number 1 and Link is, I don't remember. But and then in the trash can, because it's determined by how many DK coins you get. And then in the trash can, you can see there's like an Earthworm Jim blaster.
That's right.
And Sonic shoes, so it's like they're calling them the losers of platformers, I guess. Which is interesting. Also, yeah, like that never would have come out of Nintendo proper first-party development back then, or ever. No. Like, hey, we're gonna like directly make fun of Sonic, and then also Earthworm Jim, which it's funny how popular Earthworm Jim was, because those games really suck. They're really not good.
It's all vibes. The people who like Earthworm Jim, it's all vibes.
I forget who it was. Someone on Blue Sky or Twitter. It's probably Blue Sky. Was it even Adam? Maybe it was. He's on Blue Sky. Well, whatever. Someone had posted like.
Just got on there.
Someone had like posted like their collection of like Super Nintendo games that they've had for like since 1992 or whatever. Like every Super Nintendo game that they owned still. And yeah, Earthworm Jim 2 was in there. I'm like, why? Like, I mean, I also owned Earthworm Jim 2, but I'm just like, was it just good marketing? Because like they had the show and stuff too. Like what were we all on back then? What was in the water to where we all were playing Earthworm Jim 2?
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing that worked for Toe Jam and Earl, I guess. At a certain point, because like those games are kind of interesting, but I wouldn't call them good.
I mean, I have a very soft spot for the Toe Jam and Earl games, but god damn it. Yeah, the first Toe Jam and Earl is very interesting. The second one is less interesting, but I also really still like it a lot. But I also haven't played it in a very long time.
Yeah, Back in the Groove was my first Toe Jam and Earl experience. Despite having been like tangentially familiar with my Uncle Aaron was big into Toe Jam and Earl, but for some reason, despite the fact that I played a bunch of his games, I just never played that. And then Back in the Groove, I played with Eric and enjoyed it. Like, you know, it was pretty good for what it was, and then went back to some of the originals. I'm like, yeah, like this is interesting, but I don't know if I like think it holds up necessarily or anything like that. And
right,
you know, but those, like, you know, it's just it's amazing how much like legwork a good design or, you know, some kind of like characterization of a character can seem cool to kids in the 90s,
right?
You know, and that can do so much heavy lifting. I mean, like Sonic's a good example of that.
All Earthworm Jim really has is that he says groovy, and there's cows.
Right.
God damn it! These thorns in this race level. You know, I'll say about Sonic. You know, I've read interviews and stuff, and like they specifically designed him after like Felix the Cat and stuff. And like, I would say classic Sonic design is genuinely fantastic. You know, the Dreamcast era Sonic I think is good for what it is, but I think there is something good about old Genesis era Sonic. Like, it's not just nostalgia or whatever, that there is some kind of timeless thing, but then yeah, they also, because it was the 90s, they also had to give him the edgy attitude. Okay, I'll just take that death. Jesus.
Yeah, the attitude and like and all that stuff. But even like I even like the designs of like the badniks or whatever, like the robot animals and stuff. I like those. I like the aesthetic and the vibes of Sonic just fine. I have no issue with that. I've never really vibed with the gameplay of it. Even though I was a kid, I didn't really like the act of playing most Sonic games. But
one of the earliest memories I have is my uncle showing me Sonic 2 running on a Genesis. Like that, it changed my life. So like,
oh yeah,
I have this fondness. I don't talk about it often, but yeah, I do have a very, very big fondness for the Genesis era Sonic games. Even though, yeah, after Mania, there's like literally no reason to play the Genesis games beyond historical purposes anymore. Yeah, the last time I tried playing Sonic 2, I think maybe Sonic 3, it was right after Mania. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, like, who cares? Oh, okay, that race wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I get the itch every now and then, like, I should play Sonic, and then I'll just play Mania for like a few stages. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just fire up Mania just to like hear the first few songs and whatever, Green Hill Zone, blah blah blah.
Yeah, like, all right, sick.
Yeah,
that's still good. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. Even I've never really liked the. It doesn't feel as good as a lot of these other platformers to me, and even just mechanically. But like on top of that, like obviously there's the whole juxtaposition of like speed versus exploration that has never really worked for me, and yeah, Mania is really the only one that I think has like nailed that for me.
Right.
This is a cool fight.
Yeah, the music's good too.
Yeah.
Jim says the slightly paunchy Sonic is fire. I almost got hit because I was reading his chat comment. I wasn't expecting
Oh yeah, definitely.
K. Rool to get up that fast. Ugh. It's nice they give you your Kongs back between phases. I didn't remember that. Thank you. I could use some kindness after the past chunk of levels.
A little kindness, a little act of tender love. Yeah. I do like how much more cartoony this fight is. Like when you get in here and like Diddy and Dixie, like their eyes like pop out of their heads, and like the little like soot-covered K. Rool when his blunderbuss explodes.
Wow, I hate this. Okay, that was fine. There's more. Yeah, okay, give me my Kong back. There we go. And then he starts going like invisible at some point. Oh yeah, those shots like can freeze you, and I think he also has purple ones that reverse your controls. Oh, damn it! We're probably not gonna make it now. Oh. All right, Dixie, it's all up to you. Oh, no. No. Okay, I messed that up. That's fine, we're alive. I didn't realize he shot out the cannonball to pick up. Oh, he didn't shoot it out, it just spawned in front of me. That's why I missed it. Okay, I think this is theoretically the final hit, so this is obviously where I'll get hit and die. Yeah, I think these ones... Oh, okay, yeah. This is the reverse controls. Is he invisible? What's happening? Okay, you can unreverse my controls anytime now. What? What garbage was that? Okay. Alright. It's not that hard. It's just a lengthy fight.
It is a lengthy fight, though.
Yeah, I think you have to hit him 9 times.
That's so...
Yeah. Yeah, it sucked. It sucked real bad. I think that was the final hit, too.
Oh my god.
Okay. First face down. I guess I'd rather use Diddy for the first 2 phases because it's more about like speed. And then with Dixie you can theoretically float over his weird evil shots. Yep. My feet are very cold right now, but I don't want to. I don't want to grab my slippies right now.
Oh yeah.
I was supposed to vacuum today. I thought we'd be done with. Okay, I get hit with that. Sure game. What? Okay. This is just where we're at now, huh?
It is funny, like just it does feel different. Like when you're on stream. I remember I was playing I think it was Xenoblade Chronicles 1, and just eating shit like in that fight, just doing terrible, and got so frustrated. Like the stream was going on so long. I was like, guys, like I'm so like we're not doing this. Like I have to end the stream now, you know. And then like later that night, I was like, fuck this, man. I turned it on and like I of course beat it first try, like off stream. And so I had to come back like into the next stream, be like, yeah. So I beat that like first try, and like of course it sounds like bullshit, you know. But it was a similar thing. Like I think when I was playing Live Alive, and I was streaming that, and I think you were in the chat at one point.
I remember this, yeah.
Yeah, and like the final boss was just like so long and like.
And it killed you on like phase 7, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was rough, dude.
This is also rough right now.
I remember coming into it being like, okay, this is like the final chapter or whatever, like this will be a quick little stream to kind of close out the game. I think it was like a 9-hour stream.
Yeah, I very vividly remember this, because I came in pretty late, like, because you were still streaming when I woke up is what it was. I was like, oh, Seth is still on, okay.
It was bad.
I will say, video games could do with, like, remembering to give us victory laps sometimes. The final optional, like the real ending of Gimmick 2 is so damn hard, and it's after you have to do all this optional hard stuff, and like it was to the point where like it lowered my opinion of the game a little bit, like not significantly, but I'm just like, this is still one of the best platformers I've ever played, but like you could have just given me this. Like it didn't need to be like this. What? How did? All right, Diddy, it's all you, brother. Okay, no, it's not. It's all dead, brother.
Can't wait to see what happened.
It was nothing that interesting. It's just.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I'm really messing up. It's funny, the last time I played through this, yeah, I did not have this anywhere near the... I mean, again, yeah, there's multiple factors.
But you weren't streaming it.
Yeah.
Your feet weren't as cold.
Yeah, maybe. It was around the same time of year, so maybe they were, I don't know. I feel like I've said to people before, like, the original Donkey Kong Country, I'm like, yeah, I could beat that in, like, an hour and a half, like, easy. And people, like, don't believe me. And, like, but now I'm like, oh, maybe I can't anymore. But I definitely used to be able to. It's not that long of a game. It's not that hard. But
yeah, there was a time where I used to be able to do stuff like that. And we actually just last night, we were, like, thinking of, like, things to play for Extra Life and, like, incentives and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I used to be able to beat, the first Halo in, like, 4 hours or something like that, or less maybe. And I thought about like putting something like that up, and I was like, I probably can't do that anymore.
That'd be fun though. Like
take me like 8 hours now.
Speedrun challenges, like that sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, not knowing like glitches or anything, just like beating it like glitchless or
just like
it's intended or whatever.
As fast as you can when you're like relatively rusty or whatever. Yeah. That sounds fun. I mean, that's basically what this is right now.
Yeah, and it's funny because, in a setting like that, you think that 24 hours is like a long time. It really does go by quickly when you have like so much going on and you're managing like prizes and chat and incentives and stuff. And this year we're gonna have 2 streams, and I don't know. It's gonna be. It goes by quicker than you think, and before you know it, like last year, we started playing like Suika game, and I think we played that for like 3 hours or something. Like, okay.
Yeah, I saw part of that stream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like by the time it was all said and done, we probably played only like 10 or 12 games or something.
Yeah. It is funny. Yeah, they're really 24 hours is not that long, especially when it comes to playing video games, which are pretty long form things. Ugh. You don't. Okay, this should be the final hit once we get there. We got both Kongs. Our controls are not reversed. Is that it? Please, God. Ugh. Jim said he vacuumed today while listening. Yeah. Usually I'm listening to a podcast while vacuuming. So this kind of does work as a podcast. You get to hear...
a little bit.
You get to hear us talking about various things, and also there's Donkey Kong Country noises and music happening.
Locklith just started doing a podcast that is essentially that. Like, she just kind of like does a podcast like while like playing like gameplay overlaid with it or whatever. And that was like that's like her whole thing with her pod. I'm like, I kind of like it. Like it is kind of nice to just have like some game sounds going on while essentially a podcast is happening.
Yeah, that actually is kind of neat.
Especially if you're not like, if you don't have like music or background music involved in the podcast itself.
Right.
So.
Yeah, there we go. The trash can, it says no hopers. And then there's Sonic shoes and a Earthworm Jim gun. Maybe there's something else I can't see because the text is there. Interestingly, Yoshi is ranked above Link. That I wonder what people thought of that at the time.
Oh yeah. no hopers is funny.
That's a very British thing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny that when I was a kid, I definitely like didn't know to pick up on like the Britishness of these games. But now I can really, I can appreciate that.
Lazy Land Lubbers. I like that. Do all three of the Super Nintendo Donkey Kong Country games, they do the enemies as part of the credits thing? I don't remember if 3 does.
Yeah, I think so.
I know 1 and 2 do, but that's fun. I like games that do that.
I always love that, yeah.
Also get to find out their goofy names. Mini Necky, that's a great name.
Yeah, some of them make sense, you know, like a hedgehog being called a Spiny, that makes sense.
Man,
Glitter being the dragonfly.
Screech looks mean as hell.
There's a pretty modern. There was a recent game that did like an enemy credits roll. What was it? I don't remember. I feel like I played something pretty recently that did this.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, did Mario Wonder have one of these? I don't think. I feel like it didn't, but I don't remember now.
But there. I feel like there was something that I remember being like, oh, like that's neat. When that, what was it? I don't know. I'll think of it in 5 hours.
And it
was this.
Any Bit Harmony enjoyers, you're basically just hearing the end theme of the next episode of Bit Harmony right now, because this is absolutely this.
Oh yeah.
These end credit music is definitely going to be the end theme of Bit Harmony.
Wilk popped into chat saying, "What game is this?" Oh, those guys are just called crooks.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. Also, yeah, they all have to have K names around about that. Okay, Cackle is pretty good for the ghost alligator.
I like that if the characters don't have a walk cycle, like the canon guy didn't have a walk cycle, they just said, yeah, dude, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll just like have them slide in.
Yeah, just slide across the screen, yeah.
We're not gonna like animate a separate walk cycle just for the end credits, sorry.
Alright, Kingsing, yeah, great name. Animal Buddies. I forgot that they're actually called Animal Buddies. That's pretty good. That was just like my instinct is to call them that.
Yeah.
I'll say, as much as I like this game and the vibes are perfect and it has a lot more variety than you think. Okay, they do classify Clapper as an animal buddy in the official credits, so I guess...
Yeah, there you go.
I guess they do it here. This game isn't nearly as long as I remember. And yeah, I will say... Yeah, it gets pretty hard by the end. They could have eased off the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
How long did it take y'all to beat this? My timer says 3.5 hours, but we took a break. We were having technical issues, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, a little over 3 hours, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds right. Did we ever visit Swanky once?
Nope, we didn't.
I didn't think so.
We didn't visit Cranky or Swanky or Funky or Clubba. We visited Wrinkly once just at the very end of the game because I was like, just in case something crazy happens, maybe I should just save. I guess if it really came down to it, I would have just made a save state if we were about to get a game over or something. But
The Scurvy Concrete. Pretty, Kevin, I think is it Kev Bayless, the artist, behind these games, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I think he's now at Playtonic or whatever. He like follows All In.
Oh, really?
On Twitter. I thought about like trying to talk to him at one point.
Yeah,
I don't know how that happened, but
yeah, that's interesting. If it's anything, if that's who I think it is, and the dude that created K. Rool, I just remember when K. Rool was revealed for Smash, he basically was just like, if I had known that K. Rool was going to become this iconic thing that was included in Smash Bros. 30 years later, I would have spent more than like a few minutes designing him, because he really is a pretty ugly design. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, he's pretty ugly. Yeah, I like him, but he's not like people go real crazy for K. Rool.
Yeah,
it's kind of wild. Yeah, it's interesting that there are a few people that I'm like surprised follow All In or me or whatever. I'm like, I should try to like make more stuff happen like that.
Yeah,
at some point. Interesting that they have to like abbreviate the first names.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I assume it has. Is that like an aesthetic choice, or was that just? I assume it was on purpose, but yeah, I don't. It was just a size of the cartridge restriction. It was bursting at the seams, so it deleted anything we could.
We can't handle first names. Maybe it's just like, hey man, like you're whatever. You're like 1 megabyte over what's possible here.
Right. Yeah.
You
maybe.
gotta cut something.
Yeah, I was
like,
also. I'm letting the game like reset or whatever now, but I love the intro and like how they like simulated like a neon glow kind of off of like the 1995.
Yeah.
And like it looks like garbage when you're looking at it nowadays on like an HD monitor, but it looked really cool back then.
Oh, it's sick. Yeah.
All
like the artifacting.
Yeah. It's so good. Oops, that's not. How do I get out of here? Nope. Ah, there we go. On the Super Nintendo controller, I don't know how to get out of there. Well, yeah. That was...
We did it.
The Bit Harmony boys playing Donkey Kong Country 2. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like a fun little experiment. I've thought about... Again, we mentioned before, I wanted to do something like this for Mega Man 9, but we just... The timing didn't work out. But yeah, I don't know. Might try more of these in the future. I'm not promising anything, but yeah, it was just like a fun thing to try and do.
Yeah, it was fun. Fun to just hang out and refamiliarize yourself with the game a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, since, like I said, I always try and get my hands on the game before we cover it. Like, yeah, this is, it would have been much easier. I said this to Seth before we started. It would have been much easier to just like cozy up on the couch and fall and like play Donkey Kong Country 2 handheld on my Switch, but we did it this. I sacrificed everything for you, all
viewer,
all people that watched this, all 2 of you. But yeah, it was fun. Like I said, we'll look into doing this more. I'm still thinking about streaming more here and there, but I don't know what I'd even want to stream. Jim says, a wrestler I follow shared some poster of a bad movie he's in, saw music by Grant Kirkhope, LOL.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I feel like, especially with like, the Mario Rabbids team being disbanded now and whatever, like, yeah, Grant Kirkhope is probably just like looking for stuff to do at this point, I would assume.
What's he doing now? He did the, I'm pretty sure he did the main theme for Hatch Tales.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did the main theme for that. I remember I was talking to Jules once, and Jules was like, yeah, like if you ever want like Grant Kirkhope's like email, like, I could connect you guys or whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And Yeah, that'd be cool.
You should email Grant Kirkhope to ask him for David Weiss's email address.
Well, those dudes seem like they're pretty down to like do stuff.
Yeah.
Like they seem pretty up for it. So it'd be kind of. I mean, I've never like thought about. I don't even know how well of a format Bit Harmony would be to like interview people, but it'd be kind of neat to do something like that someday, maybe as like a special.
Yeah. I could
thing.
see that. Like, yeah, I remember back in the day, David Weiss, like he even like contributed songs to OC Remix back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've also thought about that. Like, I bet you, like, we could probably, if we really wanted to, we could at least get like Melos or like ZC
Definitely.
or something. It just, yeah, I don't know what the format of that looks like, but yeah, it's something to look into. Again, we just did an episode with me and my wife. I would love to experiment with the format more. I'd even be down for like Seth to do an episode with someone. I would still do the editing, but like I'd be down for like someone else to like step in or something. It sounds interesting
sure that'll
to me.
Happen at some point, just by necessity, anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
There'll be a time when you're not available, and we'll figure that stuff out as it happens. But yeah, I like the idea of doing like fun and different things with it, and yeah, I don't know. I've thought about that. Like I have a couple of composer connections. Like it'd be kind of fun to chat with some people in some kind of context. Because you could do it any kind of way. It could be something on the YouTube channel or the Koopa Cast, but like we do have a video game music podcast.
The thing I keep thinking about, I mean, this is something I guess you guys get a little bit of behind the scenes here.
Oh, yeah.
A thing I've been thinking about is it would be very cool to cover Angeline era in like a more official capacity. Like full on, like, yeah, because I on Blue Sky, I sent Melos a thing to the Angeline era account. I'm like, hey, just as a heads up, I'm assuming Jason will probably get code for Angeline era, so I'll play it there regardless. But I'm like, hey, I would love to cover Angeline era on Bit Harmony in like an official capacity. Like, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking with something like that is. Like,
that'd be great.
If we get early access to Angeline era and we can like cover it on Bit Harmony there, and yeah, maybe even potentially have Melos come on for something. That is kind of my thought, and that would be like a good first experiment with something like that if it comes out early enough in the year. I think Melos literally just said like, yeah, it'll be out in like spring or summer or something. So I'm sure that means it'll be out in like 2027. But
yeah. Well, especially he seems way more like invested in that other game he's working on right now.
I think he realizes it's more marketable and like
definitely is.
It totally is.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I didn't see.
Yeah, it definitely is, but we'll see.
Jim sent me a text of that. Of that movie he was talking about. Huh. Yeah. I can't. Who's this? It looks like almost like Walmart Brad Pitt being like choked to death by a lady on this is pretty good. Yeah. Wilk says time to load up Crow Country. You're not wrong. I will probably load it up right now once we get off stream and play a bit before I have to go pick up my wife.
There you go.
Well, anyway, I guess we're going to end the stream there. Thank y'all, anyone that came out. Again, we'll look into doing this in the future in some capacity. But anyway, look forward to the Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest episode of Bit Harmony coming out like, I don't know, like next week or something. I don't know. It's like November 3rd, something like that.
I think that's right, yeah.
But anyway, thanks for coming out. We'll talk to you next time.